the Tanakh, and that is our weekly. So it's Shabbos. He teaches at Shabbos morning. I'm so bad. I want to, during the intermission, I'll redo this. Okay. Without any further ado, let's start with Rabbi Cohen.
Thank you. Hey, shalom. This is so special. Well, most people are probably still in bed and we're getting together. This is the best way to begin the week. In Israel, Sunday is the first day of the week. And I'm not going to fully do what I plan to do because now I've seen all of you. A lot of it is coming out that I just feel that we need to share. So I'm going to do kind of half my pre-planned program, and then I've just downloaded lots of kind of prophecy here that I feel we need. So before we start, can everyone just sit up straight, please? Sit up straight. Okay, sit up straight. Good. And breathe deeply through your nose. And smile. Very important to smile. I didn't say breathe out yet. Let's try this again. Sit up straight. Breathe deeply through your nose. And smile and go like this. And now loosen your neck and shoulders. Gently loosen your neck and shoulders. And look left and right. It's good. You are now part of it. Breathe through your nose again. If anyone feels particularly uncomfortable doing this, it means you need to do it more than anyone else. So just get over it. Just one more. Just sit up straight again. Smile. Breathe through your nose. That's good. Okay, now you can slouch again. It's okay, everyone relax. So we're going on a discovery seminar. We're really working out. We're working. Hello. So we're working out. What are we doing here? Yeah, well, in general, in life, you're right, you know. Our soul came down into this body for a reason. And it's to learn, but we've got to learn the right things. And my grandfather died when he was 100 years old. And before he died, he said to me, you don't want to live an I should have life. So I said to him, what do you mean? And he said, when you get to 90, when you get to 95, then you start looking back on your life because you don't have so much to look forward to. So you start looking back on your life and you're thinking to yourself, I really should have. I should have traveled more. I should have not let what other people think of me upset me so much. I should have spent more time with my kids and less time at work. I should have told my wife more often how much I love her. I should have been more healthy, maybe go to the gym a bit more. I should have worked out what's the key to happiness, what's the purpose of life. So once you're 90, 95, by the way, it's never too late. He put on tefillin for the first time when he was 92. So it's never too late, but it gets a little bit harder. So he said to me that many people, when they're 90, 95, they're looking back on their lives, and the few people who look back on their lives and think to themselves, that was incredible, I lived an amazing life. I really did it. And he said to me, you can live your life from this age, but when you get to 90, you're looking back on your life and you're thinking, that was amazing. I just used it really very well. And that really spoke to me. At the time I was doing philosophy in Manchester University. If anyone knows what philosophy students do, I was doing that. And I was a DJ, dance music DJ. And I was completely lost. I had no real meaning in life. And I just looked around and I noticed that there are very, very few deeply, authentically, and consistently happy people. Very, very few. And I started an experiment. I started walking around and I would ask a very profound question. How are you? That was my question. It's going to be my dissertation. How are you? So I walked around. 5 top answers to the question, how are you? Number 1, not too bad. Not too bad, which means I'm bad, but not too bad. Number 2, can't complain, which is a complaint. Yeah, can't complain. Yes, you can. You are. Not too bad, can't complain, hanging in there, getting by, and like, leave me alone, probably. Can't, no, it was not too bad, hanging in there, could be worse. No, whatever, it wasn't good. Fine, we had fine, stands for feelings inside not expressed. So I was like, this is not okay. Like, very few people are living with immense sense of self. And when I was at school, no one taught me anything useful. We learned maths and geography and history, but no one ever said to me, you know what, 10-year-old boy, you're going to face some disappointment in your life. And here are 3 major tools that you should use when you face disappointment. Firstly, don't take it personally. Things happen. Number 2, you're allowed to feel your pain. You're allowed to feel pain. But number 3, don't be a victim to your pain. Feel your pain, cry. That's okay. Express it. But don't then let that define you. Use your pain to become stronger. Turn your pain into both. No one ever said anything. So by the time I was 18 and 19, I had no real sense of self. I was cool because I was captain of the football team, soccer team. You got to know your audience. Speaking, just literally happens quite often. Last week, a group came from America, and I said I used to play a lot of football. And one of the people, he said, "What, football?" I was like, "That's not a foot. Football, kick ball with football." So I played lots of sport, and so I had a good life. I was good. I had amazing parents, loving, kind, sweet, supportive, amazing parents. But I really realized that there's got to be purpose. So I worked out that there are really only 3 steps to creating a great life. And I use my words very carefully. It's creating a great life. You don't have a great life. You create a great life. I was giving a class, a 38-year-old came into the class and he sat down. I said, "What are you doing with your life?" And he said, "I'll just see where life takes me." And I said, "What are you, a jellyfish?" Life's not taking you anywhere that great. There's lots of divorce, lots of anxiety, lots of depression, lots of financial issues. Raising children's really hard. Life's not easy. So don't just see where life takes you, because it's not taking you anywhere that great. You don't want to be a jellyfish. You want to be a shark. You want to say, "That's where I want to go, and that's where I'm going to go, even if it's difficult." So you should play this game. I often ask people, "Are you going to live a great life? Are you going to live a great life?" Do you know what the number 1 answer is? I hope so. Try it. Ask many people. Are you going to live a great life? I hope so. Someone once said to me, "I'd like to think so." I said, "I bet you'd like to think so." Are you going to live a great life? I hope so. You're not going to. If you hope to live a great life, you won't live a great life. You have to choose to live a great life. You have to create a great life. That's very, very, very simple. And it's not too late. If anyone's sitting here thinking, I've already lived my life, and my children are out of the house, and I've already got grandchildren, and it's not too late. You can create a great life. There's only 3 steps you need to create a great life. Number 1, you've got to work out the goal. What's the goal of my life? What does it mean to live a great life? What does it mean to be a great person? What does a great life look like? What's the goal? I'm going to be very, very clear on what I want to achieve. By the time I'm 90, to be able to look back on my life and say I was a great person, living a great life, you have to define what that means. You have a very, very clear vision of that. So success, how would you define success? If you're very, very, very rich, does that mean you had a great life? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I don't think the richest people in the world are the greatest people in the world or the happiest people in the world. So most people nowadays, their definition of success and where they get their sense of self from is really based on 3 things: what I do, what I have, and what I look like. So someone asked my son when he was 7, he said, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And my son Benjamin said, "Well, I want to be a nice person. Or I want to, he loves playing football, soccer." Loves playing football. And he said, "No, what do you want to be?" And he said, "I want to be kind. I want to be a man." And the guy was like, "No, your job. What job?" He's like, "Oh. Because most people, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? We've so been drilled into what you are as your career. Your career defines you. And then you put pressure on your children to be whatever, a doctor or a lawyer, and you say it's because I love you and this is good for you. But it's not, it's because you want to show off to your friends that your children are doctors and lawyers. So by the way, all your children are just regards to me. But they should be really happy, healthy, kind, wonderful, sweet, loving doctors and lawyers. So the first step is, what's the goal? What is it that I actually want to achieve? How do you define success? What's the definition of success? The definition of success in any area is achieving the purpose. If you achieve the purpose of that thing, you have success. So for example, if you want to have a successful marriage, how do you define a successful marriage? Achieving the purpose of marriage. So what's the purpose of marriage? The purpose of marriage is emotional intimacy. What's the purpose of marriage? That we feel love and connection and respect and care, and we think about emotional intimacy. That's the purpose of marriage. So to the extent that you have emotional intimacy, you had a successful marriage. How do you define a successful business? To the extent you achieve the purpose of the business. So the purpose of the business is to make lots of money. So if you inherited lots of money, you're not a successful business person. And if you sell loads of cars, but you don't make money, you're not a successful business person. A successful business person sold lots of cars, made lots of money. That's the purpose of the business. So then you have success. Successful operation. Has anyone? I just don't know. Has anyone here had an operation? Right. Let's say you had an operation, and I say to you, was it a successful operation? Well, how do you define that? How do you define a successful operation? To the extent that you achieve the purpose of the operation, it was a successful operation. So if the purpose of the operation was to remove whatever it was, and you removed it, then it was successful. If it was to fix a bone and you fixed it, it was successful. Every area, did you have a successful vacation? Depends on the purpose of the vacation. Is this going to be a successful seminar? Depends on the purpose of the seminar. So the purpose of the seminar for me is to give people practical wisdom and sustainable tools in order to create a great life for themselves. So to the extent that you guys walk out of here feeling, uplifted and inspired with practical steps, not crazy ideas, very small practical steps, and then you have follow-up classes with Harav. We could do a whole Bora, let's get this going. This is just the beginning, by the way. We've got to be in this together for the long run. So then it would be a successful. So that's it. Every area, successful sports person, achieve the purpose of the sport. So who here would like to live a successful life? Right. How do you define a successful life? Based on what I just said, use my exact words. To the extent. I say to the extent because it's not you did it or not. To the extent means you can be more and more successful. To the extent that you make money in your business, you are more and more successful in your business. To the extent that you achieved your goals of your vacation, it was a more and more successful vacation. So how do you define a successful life? To the extent that you achieve the purpose of life, you have a successful life. That's very simple. And not your purpose. Some people say, if I reach my goals, to the extent that I reach my goals in life, I had a successful life. Is that true? No, not if you have wrong goals. If your goal in life is just to eat pizza and play video games and smoke weed, and you're 90 years old and you weigh 500 pounds and you've got pizza boxes and you're playing Fortnite and that's not as you achieved your goals. You say, what do you mean I achieved my goals? Yeah, but you got the wrong goals. So what is the goal of life? What's the purpose of life? That's a good question. What is the purpose of life? Yeah, I really am a philosopher. What is the purpose of life? And I don't want to get religious. Don't be like connect to God, although I think that's true, but I don't want to go there. Because I think there's a more foundational purpose of life. So I finished Manchester University, and then I lived in Asia for 6 years, in China and Japan and Korea and Nepal. I speak Thai, Japanese, Hindi, and Korean. And I got a black belt in Taekwondo and a brown belt in Aikido. I did lots of 10-day silent meditation retreats. No reading, no writing, no listening to music, no phones, no TV, no distraction. And then after 6 years in Asia, I actually was going to canoe down the Amazon. And I stopped in Israel for 3 weeks, 18 years ago. But I noticed, I grew up in a Reformed Jewish home, very loving, great Jewish identity. I never ate pig in my whole life. I lived on a small island off the coast of Korea for a year and a half. And I used to go every sunrise, I went to the Buddhist temple. And every sunset, I went to the Buddhist temple. And I was training in Taekwondo as well. And I played soccer for the Presbyterian Church football team. But when we went out to eat, we'd have beef, not kosher beef, but beef. But whenever they brought pork to the table, I was like, no, I'm Jew. Jews, we don't eat pig. And they were like, you're in the Buddhist temple. I don't eat pig. That was my thing. So I had a very strict. I think that's what got me here. I think I sort of respected that. This is also a very, 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 very important point in life. Never, ever compare yourself to anyone else, ever. Because you are only judged on how far you came based on where you started with your resources. So if you got someone who gets dropped in a helicopter halfway up a mountain, and you get someone who dropped in a helicopter at the bottom of the mountain, and the person halfway up the mountain walks 100 steps, and the person at the bottom of the mountain walks 300 steps, who's higher? Well, this guy looks higher, but he's not, because he walked 300 steps. So don't compare. In general, a very, very important rule of personal growth and spiritual growth and Jewish growth. David HaMelech, King David says, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, which means it has to be done joyfully. All of our growth has to be seen as an amazing opportunity to create a greater life for ourselves. So if there's any pressure or guilt or shame or fear or comparing or putting yourself down, or I'm not good enough, and what's wrong with very, very unhappy, it just doesn't work. Because even if you end up doing externally the right things, you'll just be a really unhealthy human being. So Judaism teaches derech eretz kadma leTorah, which means you just got to be a mensch. That's it. It comes before spirituality. I said I've got an amazing son. He's an excellent sports person and artist. Everything. He doesn't like school, doesn't like learning so much, which is exactly like me. I'm very proud of him. You like me. And his teacher keeps calling me and he said, there's a problem. I said, there's not a problem, he's great. So I actually just said to him the other day, I said to my son, I actually don't need you to do well in school. Because I'm not getting into a parenting class now. But I don't need anything for my children. And my children aren't there to give me nafas. I'm there to give my children what they need. So I said to Binyamin, I said, I just want 3 things from you. Number 1, I want you to be a man. Just be really kind all the time. Just be kind to yourself. Be kind to everyone. People say, I give you a blessing. Your son should be a Talmid Chacham. No, I don't care. It would be okay. I don't care. I want him to be a man. Just be a man. And then the second thing I said, I want you to be happy. Maybe we'll talk about happiness today. 2 types of real happiness. How long have we got? We got 7 hours? Let's go. Let's just cancel everything. Let's go. I'm being serious. When is it? Mikvah at 4? Okay, let's see. Yeah. I said, I want you to be a mensch, and I want you to be happy, and I want you to love being a Jew. And you already are a mensch, and you're already really happy, and you love being a Jew, so I'm cool. You're all right. I did actually say to him, would you pretend to listen in school? His teacher actually said to me that he sees Binyamin at the back of the class, he's writing on the board, all Mishnayos and stuff, and Binyamin is looking at the board, and he's good at it, and then he checks his notebook, and he's drawn like a snake or a lion. And so he told me this, and I said, they're very good lions, though. He's an amazing artist. Okay, back. What's the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life? So I did philosophy at university, and then I lived in Asia for 6 years. I taught Buddhism and Hinduism, lived on a Korean island for 1.5 years, lots of Christian missionaries on the island, speak to lots of atheists. My favorite hobby, my favorite sport is speaking to atheists. If you have any, send them to me, I love them. And then I've been learning Torah for 18 years, and I noticed that every single person on the face of the planet agrees on what the purpose of life is, basically. There are 2 things. An atheist never speaks about the purpose of life, because if there's no God, there isn't a purpose to life. If there's no creator, if it wasn't created for a reason, there's not a purpose to life. So good atheists speak about values, 2 top values. They won't say purpose, they'll say we've got 2 top values, which I'm going to say is your purpose. There are 2 top values in life, and if you follow these 2 values your whole life, you are guaranteed to have a great life. What are they? I think happiness is the result of achieving. To the extent you achieve these things, you will have happiness. In fact, I can guarantee you the 5 things you want. You know the 5 things you want? You think like, I want 500. Yeah. You want 5 things. I know this because I'm a prophet. And I have a beard. Everything I say is true. These are the 5 things you want. You want authentic, consistent happiness. And if it's authentic, then it would be consistent, by the way. We'll talk about happiness later. Like 2 o'clock, we'll do the happiness session. You want consistent, authentic happiness. You want self-worth. In fact, that's the main, most important thing in your life, feeling good about yourself, not based on what other people think of your clothes and your body and your car and your kids, and really healthy self-worth. You want good relationships, which is based on self-worth as well, because if you don't feel good about yourself, you don't get into healthy relationships. You want meaning and fulfillment in your life, and you want health. Those are your 5 things. And everything else you think you want, I want money, and I want my kids to do well in school, it's all because you think those will give you happiness, self-worth. These are your 5 foundational things that you want in life. And I can guarantee you all of them. For 1,000 pounds. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you.
Can you just do them one more time so I wasn't paying attention?
Happiness. Simcha, happiness. Now, I want to give you a whole 3-hour happiness seminar now, but we don't have time for it. But happiness, self-worth, good relationships, meaning, fulfillment, and health. 2 things. There are only 2 things, and if you follow these things, I call it living a VDL. Americans like acronyms, I've learned that. A values-driven life. I want to live a values-driven life. I'm driven by my values. All of my decisions are made based on my values. So these are your 2 top values, and you know them. I don't think I'm going to say very many things today that you don't know already. Number 1 value is improve yourself, self-improvement. Become the greatest person you become. And everyone knows that the essence of self-improvement is having the perfect outfit for every occasion. It's very, very important. So you should spend more money than you have on your credit card. Make sure no one else has the same outfit God forbid. So now maybe we'll break down what self-improvement means. But number 1, improve yourself, become the greatest person you can become. And number 1 is improve yourself. Number 2 is improve the world, positive impact on the world around you. Tikkun atzmi, the tikkun olam, fixing myself and fixing the world. You're basically here for self-actualization. How do you define a great person? A great person has improved themselves and improved the world. To the extent that you improve yourself and you improve the world, you will be a great person and you will be living a great life. And you will be guaranteed happiness, self-worth, good relationships, meaning, and love. So how do you define self-improvement? If someone says, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going away for 6 months, I'm going to really work on myself. And they come back and they're now excellent at tennis. They're very amazing. Would you say they worked on themselves? No, they worked on tennis and they're very good at tennis now, but they didn't work on themselves. They didn't improve themselves, they improved their tennis. Someone goes away and I bought a new car. Did they improve themselves? No. So what does it mean? How do we define self-improvement? That you became a better person. The richer you are, the better you are? No. The better looking you are, the better you are? No. So what is it? How do you define it? How do you define improving yourself?
Better than you were the day before.
Being better than you were the day before. But what does that mean? What, better at tennis? Better at business? What are you better at? What does it mean being a better person? What I learned history. I now know the whole of British history, every king of England and how many people they killed. But now I'm a better person. I'm just going to keep it very simple because we've only got till 4 o'clock. Midot, character traits, that's it. Nothing else. Your character traits define you for now until we get spiritual. And then, like 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to get onto true spirituality. But for now, you are defined by your character traits. If someone wants to marry my daughter, she's only 13, by the way. I'll give her a year. If someone wants to marry my daughter, I don't care how good they are at chess, and I don't care what car they drive. I don't even particularly care how rich they are, although that would help. I care how kind they are, that's all. I just care how kind. Are you just a kind? Are you a mensch? That's it. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. Just be a mensch. So I've got 3 books over here, but I've written a 4th book. But it's very, very expensive, so I didn't bring it. It's only 2 words. 2 words with a 4-word footnote. And the 2 words are, be kind. And the footnote is, to yourself and others. Thank you for having me. Be serious. If you could actually just be kind to yourself and other people, you'd have a great life. You'd be a great person, have a great life. But we're not even kind to ourselves. You've got a voice in your head, what's wrong with me? I'm not good enough. Why did I do that? What do people think of me? It's not fair. Nightmare. You don't want that. Someone actually said to me the other day, do you think Jews are better than non-Jews? And I said, how do you define better? How do you define better? Character traits. So no, not necessarily. If you've got a non-Jew with great character traits and a Jew with bad character traits, then the non-Jew is better than the Jew. That's it. I think there's a difference in spiritual potential, but a non-Jew can become a Jew. But better? There's only one definition of being a good person, better person, character traits. So I let go of my jealousy, anger, hatred, low self-esteem, vanity, guilt, fear, and all of that. I just let go of that stuff. And I tapped into peace of mind, playfulness, kindness, compassion, generosity, non-judgmentalism. Is that a word? That would be a good Scrabble word. Non-judgmentalism. Now, can you actually see how this works? Because imagine you let go of your anxiety, hatred, fear, doubt, jealousy, guilt. How would you feel? You'd feel great. You'd feel happy. In fact, the only thing getting in the way of your intrinsic state of happiness is your own bad character traits. No, it's not. It's my boss. Yeah, but if you have my patience, no, it's my kids trying to balance more resilience. It's always to improve yourself means to work on your character traits. Now, who is that up to? Who does that depend? You. It's amazing. This is amazing. Every other definition of success doesn't really necessarily depend on you. How good looking you are, how well your business does, it's not even particularly in your control. And even if you got it, it wouldn't guarantee happiness. Whereas our definition is completely 100% in your control and guarantees happiness. Very clear. Improve your character traits. Just improve your character traits. Remember, in a very gentle, self-compassionate, joyful way. Don't be sitting there, yes, improve my character traits. I'm so bad. Don't do that. Be like, yes, I hear this idea. It's very interesting. I'm going to spend more time on consciously improving my character traits. So instead of watching whatever I'm watching on social media, I'm going to watch a TED talk on how to let go of anxiety, whatever. Like, invest in the things that you need to do to get to where you want. So that's step number 1. Step number 1, be very, 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 very clear of your goal. Your goal in life, which guarantees happiness and greatness, is be good and do good. That's an easier way to say it, by the way. Just be good, do good. Another way to say it is growth and contribution. Grow and contribute. Another way to say that is self-actualization and universal actualization. Another way to say that is reach your potential and help others reach their potential. We say it in many different ways. There's 2 things. Improve yourself, improve the world. Be good, do good. Grow and contribute. And who does this depend on? On me. That's right. Depends on me. Depends on you. Isn't it amazing? Everyone sit up straight for a second, please. Loose your neck and shoulders. Breathe through your nose. Mouth, yeah. Tap your chest over here. Okay, so. Very pleasant. Okay, step number 2. Step number 1, clarify the goal. So you want to go to Svat, So you put into ways, tzfat. That's what I know where I want to go. Step number 2 is identify the steps you need to take in order to achieve that. I would like to gain weight. Okay, good. That's a fine goal. It's not your overall life goal, but it's a mini goal. I want to gain weight. So what do I need to do in order to gain weight? I probably need to eat more protein. And I probably need to go to the gym. So great. Now then I would like to lose weight. Well, what should I do? What do I need to do to lose weight? I need to eat less fatty food and gluten and sugar. And I need to exercise. I'd like to let go of my anxiety. So how do I do that? I go to therapy, breath work, whatever it is. Just get very clear on how to achieve what you want to achieve. I would like to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy, yay. So what does it take to be happy? So David Amelech says there are really 2 things. He says, "So mira ve'aseh tov." Get away from ra. Now ra is usually translated as evil, but it means broken. But what it really means is things that are not working, things that are not taking you towards your purpose. It's called ra, even if it's not immoral. It's not immoral. If it's taking you away from your goal, it's called ra. So mira. So if you want to have a healthier sense of self, TikTok probably isn't great. It's not helping. You want to get away from the things that are taking you away from your goal. Now, aseh tov is invest in things that are taking you towards the goal. Very simple. So if you want to win the gold medal in the Olympic game, then you probably don't want to go out and get wasted with your friends so much, and you want to train really hard. So mira ve'aseh tov. Get away from things that aren't getting you there. And it's hard. This is actually hard. Why? Because the things that are not taking you towards your goal, there's 2 things. Number 1, they're very easy. And number 2, they feel good. Eating that, smoking that, pressing the snooze button, all of the things that are actually taking you away from your goal. Candy Crush, not taking you towards your goal. I'm telling you, not. But it makes you feel good because it flashes and the lion came and disappeared, and I achieved. And then the score goes up. And you're like, dopamine. You didn't achieve it. So the things that are taking you away from your goal feel good without any effort. So who would say no to that? The best way to deal with your emotions is a tub of Ben and Jerry's. You try it. You'll have that tub of Ben and Jerry's and you'll feel better. But it's very temporary and superficial. It's a counterfeit. So we're basically selling out for counterfeit stuff in our life because it feels good temporarily, but then we never get there. Those short-term little pleasures never will make us a truly, authentically happy person. People confuse pleasure for happiness. If we went around the room now and I said, tell me one thing that makes you happy, you would say, my children, or not your children, whatever. You'd say, my children, food, playing with my dog, walking in nature, the nice weather, painting, working. You'd say all those things. So that's not called happiness. That's called, I feel good when I get whatever. That's what it's called. It's called pleasure. It reminded me of a tea. Thanks. Very nice. Hey, no, I don't Chicago. Pardon? Yes. He's like, do what I told you to do. This is a long introduction. I also want to give you a class on brachas. If you really knew what a bracha was and did, you'd never want to put anything in your mouth without saying bracha. If you think it's a burdensome obligation, I have to say the words to make that angry man in the sky happy, then of course you won't want to do it. But if you really understood what's happening when you make a bracha, what it is, a moment of mindfulness, God consciousness, gratitude, amazing. Anyway. I'll just do it. Very quickly, 3 steps. Number 1, what's the goal? Number 2, what are the steps? Number 3, do them. Do it. Do that. Now that's difficult. Number 3 is difficult. Number 1 and 2 are not difficult. You know exactly the goal. The goal of life is to be a great person. That means improve yourself and improve the world. The steps to that, we can work out. We'll work out together. How do you improve your character traits? But then you have to do them. So you put sfat, and then you press directions, and it tells you the directions. And then what do you have to do? Get in the car and drive. Most people are getting in the car driving in the opposite direction. So why do you do that? You know, in lap, you're going to be stuck. Fine. So that's very clear. What's my goal? What do I do to achieve it? And we're going to achieve it. So let's do this. I worked out, because I did philosophy at university, that there are many different opinions as to what's true. So Buddhists say that you do not have a soul and there's no God. And Hindus say, no, there is a God. God is really everything and beyond everything, and your soul is an aspect of God. And Christianity says you have to believe a certain rabbi died for your sins, and if you don't, you'll burn in hell. So there are very many different ideas of what is true. So if you want to achieve the purpose of life, you have to know what's true. If you don't believe JC died for your sins, you're going to burn in hell. Is that true or not? How do you know? Thank you for having me. It's a very good question. How do you know that's not true? Because if it is true, you're going to burn in hell forever. I think it's very important. So I developed 3 questions of living a well thought out life. Number 1 question: what do you believe? So I used to ask people over the age of 95, do you believe in life after death? Do you know what the number 1 answer for 95-year-olds, do you believe in life after death, was? Yes wasn't the number 1 answer, nor was no. Number 1 answer was, I don't know, I'm not sure, I hope so, I hope not. And I said, well, you're going to die soon.
Make up your mind.
And like, you better work this out. I often speak to groups come to Aish, and I say, not kosher food is spiritually harmful. If you're Jewish, not kosher food is spiritually harmful. It's not immoral, by the way. Eating not kosher food doesn't make you a bad person. It's not immoral at all. I know people who don't keep kosher and they're fantastic people. I know people who are strictly kosher, they're horrible people. And it's not a choice. You can get kosher people who are nice as well. So it's not a moral thing. But not kosher food is spiritually not good for you. Is that true or false? Now, the truth is, it's either true or false. It doesn't matter what you believe. So you can say, well, I don't believe it's true. And it doesn't matter what you believe. It's either true or false. So there's something called objective truth. Objective truth means it's true or it doesn't matter what you believe or what you want. My mother has a cat. Is that true or false? Well, it's actually false. But it's either true or false. It doesn't depend on what you believe. It is either true or false. So lots of people, when I say things, for example, not kosher food is not good for you, is that true or false? Many people say, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Not bad people. I haven't thought about it. But we got to understand there's something called objective truth that is true whether you believe it or not, or whether you want to. So we've got to work out what is that. It's very important. Number 2, why do you believe that? Why do you believe everything you believe? Why do you believe everything? There are 2 reasons you believe everything you believe. Number 1, because that's what you were told. So if you were born in India, you'd believe in many gods and you'd eat lots of rice. And depending on which village you were born in, you'd believe in a particular main god. If you were born in China, you would be a communist and eat lots of rice. If you were born in Mea Shearim, you'd all have 15 children, strangled, and eat lots of rice. If you were born in Gaza, you'd want to kill us. If you were born in Chicago, you'd be basically who you are. No, 100%. 98% of people are just a product of their society, or they're rebelling against it. So you believe what you believe because that's what you were told, and you just believed it. 98% of religious Jews are religious Jews because that's how they were brought up. 98% of religious Christians are religious Christians because that's how you're brought up. So you're a product of your society. The other reason you believe everything you believe is because you want it to be true. It's called cognitive bias. So I don't believe there's life after death because if there's life after death, there are consequences. I don't want there to be consequences. I do believe in life after death because I'm scared that death would be the end. So you believe what makes you feel good. It's much easier, and you find things to back up what you believe, and you ignore what you don't. The final question, which is very important, and this is really what the whole discovery program is. I got you. How do you know you're right? How do you know what you believe is true? Who here believes they have a soul? You're wrong. You are a soul. You have a body. But anyway, let's say you have a soul. In fact, the truth is, if you do have a soul, if you are a soul, we don't even believe in death. The souls don't die. The body will die. The souls don't die. The death isn't even a thing. Death of the body. Oh, we're going to do the whole soul class. Why do you believe you have a soul? Because that's what you were told. Or that's what you want. Well, I've got a conscience. I've got a conscience, so that means I've got a soul. No, it doesn't. It means you have a conscience because of society. You don't want people to do not nice things to you. And you don't do Sam Harris, the world's leading atheist, a Jew, Shmuel Binyamin. I love Sam Harris. So he says you have a conscience, but he doesn't say you have a soul. So why do you believe you have a soul? Because you were told it, and or because you want it. It makes life meaningful. But how do you know it's true? How do you know you have a soul? Huh? Faith, but he died for my sins. And, is it true or not? Faith is useless, actually. So how do you know? Tell me one thing you know, for sure. Do you want to tell me one thing you know? Just the most simple thing I've got to have, whatever.
The lights are on.
The lights are on. Great. How do you know the lights are on?
See it.
Because you can see it. Everyone else can see it. Because the room is filled with light. That's very good. Anyone else? Tell me one thing you know. Your mother is your mother. Everyone knows, basically, unless you were adopted, you know your mother is your mother. How do you know that? Someone once said to me when I asked the question, because she gave birth to me. No. How do you know that the woman you think gave birth to you is your mother? So how do you know your mother is your mother? Don't go and call her now and be like, oh, you're not my mother. How do you know your mother is your mother? Because you've got a birth certificate, and you've got a DNA test, and you look like her, and you've got photos of you as a kid, and everyone says she's your mother. China. How do you know there's a country called China? Because everything's made there. And you eat Chinese food, and you think Chinese people, it's on the map, and lots of people speak Chinese. So what's this called? Evidence. It is the only rational reason to believe anything. So if someone comes up to you and says, if you don't believe JC died for your sins, you're going to burn in hell forever. Say to them, well, that's really interesting. What's your evidence? And they'll say, well, you'll burn in hell if you don't believe it. And you'll say, no, what's your evidence for that? How do you know that? And they'll say, because it says so. And you say, where? And they'll be like, in the Bible. And you say, no, don't read the Bible. It doesn't say that. It actually doesn't say that. What's your evidence for what you believe? So now that you know the only rational answer to the question, how do you know you're right is evidence, what's the only rational answer to the question, why do you believe that?
You've seen the
evidence. It's got to be. What do you believe? Do you believe you have a soul? Yes. Why do you believe that? Because I have evidence. How do you know you're right? Because I have evidence. That's it. So what the discovery program really is rational, compelling, rational, scientific, empirical evidence that there's no way a human being could have written the Torah. So I asked my Buddhist master, very quickly. It's me. Guess which one's me? It's actually this one. I look very different. Okay. So basically, I wrote my 3 questions of living a well thought out life. What do you believe? What do you believe? How you know you're true? And then after I finished university, I left. I lived in Asia for 6 years. This is Annapurna base camp. I trained in Shaolin. Because I speak Thai and Hindi and this is Lao. I was in Lao. I taught Buddhism. I was always into Kira. But I was bringing Buddhist monks, Buddhists to closer. And this is lots of different stories. And I asked my Buddhist. I love Buddhism. I think it's very cool. When I started becoming more religious when I was 29, one of the rabbis said to me, first, this is the most important thing anyone ever said to me. said to me, if you become more religious and then you judge other people, especially other Jews, and you say they're reform and you didn't become religious, you became self-righteous. Because the closer you are to God and Torah, and then the more you just love people unconditionally. And very, very important. Just because you might be right, don't be self-righteous. Look, I work at age, so we have lots of kids who come and they start becoming more observant, and their parents quite fairly start freaking out. So I do online classes for the parents. And I actually call the classes Parents of Religious Kids. Pork. And this is the first thing I do. It's very cool. First thing I do is, and I know what's going to happen. And you say, hi, my name is Rabbi from Jerusalem. I just want to tell you something. A kid becoming religious has never split up a family. And then I stop. And then they go. I'm ready for it. My sister's son doesn't speak to her, and black hat behaves badly on the plane, doesn't have children. So I let them get it all out, all that trauma and stuff, and I say, I want to repeat, kid becoming religious never split up family. And I say, go on then. So if a kid becomes religious and then he becomes judgmental and self-righteous, that splits up a family. Or if the kid becomes religious but he's still healthy and kind, but the parents, they become judgmental and self-righteous and force their values on the kid, that splits up a family. So if anyone's going to be self-righteous and judgmental and force their values on each other and just not respect and love each other, then that splits up a family. But my family went like that. My parents are amazing. When I became kosher, I went home and I said to my parents, you have a special needs kid. They thought it was really funny. And I said, I'm going to keep kosher now. And my mum didn't say, oh, how dare you, I breastfed you and how dare you. She said, so what's that going to take? Should we buy new pots and pans? And I said, yeah, nothing. Just healthy, just nice. And I said, there's no way I'm going to not eat your food. I have it like, love your food. It just means that we have to go, it's got to be kosher ingredients. So I have to eat my mummy's food, you crazy? So when I got kosher ingredients, that's healthy. That was just a side rant, but just get that out. So, what was the other? Someone said to me, once I became observant, amazing, now you can tell how bad Buddhism is. Give class there, and I said, if I have to make myself look good by putting someone else down, I don't think Buddhism is bad. I just don't think it's true, but I don't think it's bad. So I asked my Buddhist masters, I said, how do you know this is true? So they said, because Buddha said so. I said, how do you know you got it right? And they said, because we feel it in our meditation. And you do. I used to I did these 10-day silent meditation retreats. They're amazing, and really out-of-body experiences and complete peace of mind. And I did yoga courses and fasting, and I did the whole thing. And I said, yeah, but what happens is you get to a very high state of spiritual consciousness, but when you come out of it, you then put your Buddhist interpretation on it. So everywhere I went, I said, how do you know it's right? And no one gave me evidence until I got to Israel. I was in Asia for 6 years, and I was going to go and canoe down the Amazon, and I stopped in Israel for 3 weeks. Stopped in Israel for 3 weeks, and so I was living on a kibbutz with some Israeli backpackers I was in India with, and there was one religious person on the kibbutz. And they said to me, hold on, you're Jewish? And I said, yeah. And they said, but you teach Buddhism and Hinduism, why don't you learn about Judaism? And I said, because I'm spiritual. And Judaism is not spiritual, or not even nice. I don't think people, they don't look nice. And you believe there's a really angry man in the sky, and he's going to punish you if you don't do his stupid little rules. And he needs you to praise him the whole time. God, you're so great and holy. I'm like, God, you're so insecure and egotistical. And there's some, I don't know, there's lots of, and you've got to put black boxes on your head and arm. Why does he need that? That's a bit weird. And shake leaves and lemons. Eat lots of dry cracker quickly. I mean, there's lots of weird things. So I actually said to someone, you know, I'm very into mindfulness. I do everything mindfully. And I'm very spiritual at this point. I fasted once for 7 days. just 2 small cups of water. It wasn't a full fast, 2 small cups of water. And on 3 of the days, I had a small piece of papaya. Cleansing. And one day I walked 2.5 hours up the mountain to meet the Dalai Lama, so I had half an apple. Well, I was very hungry. Well, you know what? I thought when they said you can go and meet the Dalai Lama, I'm very excited. I thought it would be a one-on-one meeting, but it wasn't. There were about 3,000 Tibetans there. I spoke for 45 minutes in Tibetan. And they were having this whole festival because he was there with all this amazing local food, but I had taken on myself this fast. So that it was a thanks. So anyway, I got all there. I asked the rabbis in Sfa, I said, okay, I started learning and I realized we don't believe there's an angry man in the sky. It's an angry woman. Great. We don't believe there's an angry man in the sky. We believe in infinite consciousness. Infinite consciousness, 13.8 billion years ago, there was nothing. And then out of nothingness came time-space. The time-space continued. And in 1929, I think, the Hubble telescope suddenly declared, they said the universe is expanding. How do you know the universe is expanding? Because stars are getting further and further apart. So if I had a balloon and put dots on the balloon and I blew it up, the dots would get further apart. So I know the universe is expanding. So they made this amazing scientific discovery in 1935-ish, that there was a beginning to the universe. A big bang, beginning. And all the rabbis are like, racing around. We've been that for 3,000, 4,000 years. Rabbi Nachman said 200 years ago that at the end of days, science is going to be teaching the deepest Kabbalah. And we now see quantum physics there's a unified field theory. We're like, yes, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, everything, like quarks, it's all there. God bless you. God bless you and the whole family. So anyway, so I said, so God's not an angry man in the sky. God is the infinite consciousness, and I got evidence for this, that created the universe. And the soul is therefore a finite expression of infinite consciousness. It's like a sun ray to God's sun. And I was like, okay, this is language. Judaism doesn't speak like this. Judaism speaks, you put on your right shoe first, and then your left. I actually worked out, why do you put on your right shoe first, then your left shoe? Because right represents chesed, love and kindness. So all the little minutiae of Jewish law is mindfulness. The Shulchan Aruch, the book of Jewish law, is literally a mindfulness book. We see it as burdensome obligations, stupid little things to make the man in the sky happy. That's not what it is. If you put on your left shoe first, Hashem's not freaking out. No, how dare they? I said right. Burn. It's not really. But if you know you have to put on your right shoe first, then putting on your shoes becomes a conscious and intentional and meaningful. So everything I do during the day, how I speak to my wife, how I wake up, when we wash for bread, and why do we wash for bread, and right, and then there's all got deeper and deeper, amazing meaning. So halakha, Jewish law comes from the word halicha, which means to walk through life in a conscious way. Anyway, so I started to think, wow, Judaism is actually amazing and powerful. But then I asked my one question. What was the question I asked? How do you know you're right? How do you know you're right? So I could. So I asked, how do you know you're right? And do you know what they said? Evidence. They said there's evidence that there's no way a human being wrote the Torah. And I said, that's the word I wanted to hear. I love the word evidence. They said, where do you find the evidence? And said, go down to the old city, Jerusalem, go to Aish, and they give you evidence. So I went down to Aish, and up there, and because I was 29 years old at this point, I thought to become religious, you have to be like 18-year-old and depressed, and they just give you drinks and like. But I was 29 years old, I was very, very happy, and I'd done philosophy at university, and I meditated. I think it was very hard to brainwash me at that point. They tried, they tied me down to the table. And they put a bright light in my eyes, but they put like a lavender diffuser and soft music. And then they just started saying, God is good, Torah is good. And then every like half an hour they gave me a little drop of sugar water. And then after like 2 weeks I woke up and I had these strings and I've never been happier. Thank you so much. Okay, no. So they said we've got evidence there's no way a human being wrote the Torah. Evidence no way a human being wrote the Torah. And I said, show me the evidence. I want to see the evidence. And I took it and I sent it to all my atheist friends. Sent it to everyone I was in university. I said, we're going to refute the evidence because I don't want to be a religious Jew. I want to go and canoe down the Amazon. So I took the evidence and I walked. Basically, I had some free time. So I walked from the Lebanese border to Eilat. It's 700 miles. I walked for 700 miles. I raised $18,000 for orphanages. It was cool. I didn't have anything better to do at the time. And 19 days in the desert. It was a cool story, actually. And all the time I was debating these atheists, and no one could refute the evidence that there's no way human being on the moon. So very, very slowly, I started implementing in my own life. I met my wife. I got the best ever story about how someone met their wife. It's amazing. And people say, don't build it up so much, because if you build it up too much when you tell it, it will be a letdown. But I'll build it up forever. I'll tell you, it's the best story ever. I'll do that at 11 o'clock tonight. Very quickly, there are 3 levels. Let's go. Level number 1 is called faith. Faith means I have no evidence. I believe, but I have no evidence. It hasn't rained for 2 months. The weather forecast said it's not going to rain for another 2 months, and there are no clouds in the sky. And I come up to you and I say, God just told me it's going to rain today. Buy this umbrella for $100. You buy it, you're an idiot. No evidence. That's no evidence. But people have faith. And they think that's very holy. I believe. I don't need your evidence. I believe. I feel it in my heart. I feel him in my heart. He loves me. Stupid. Not stupid, God forbid. God forbid, not judging anyone. But Judaism does not believe in faith. Judaism is not a faith-based religion. Faith is an ethical. Belief. Belief is I have some evidence. So it rained twice last week, and the weather forecast said there's a 30% chance of rain, and I see some clouds in the sky. I believe it's going to rain. Then we've got a higher level called knowledge. Knowledge means there is so much evidence that it would be irrational not to believe it. It's been raining non-stop for the last 10 days. The weather forecast says there's a 95% chance of rain, and there's black clouds in the sky, and it's already starting to rain. I know it's going to happen. Is knowledge 100%, by the way? 100%. No, there's only one thing you can know 100%. What is that? The only thing you can know without any doubt is that you exist. Not that you have a body, by the way. You could doubt you have a body. You could be a brain in a jar. It'd be silly to doubt you have a body because there's no evidence that you don't have a body, and there's lots of evidence that you do. So we go with evidence. But you can doubt everything apart from the fact that you exist. It's Descartes. Because as soon as you doubt you exist, there's a you doubting you exist. There's a you. So you could doubt there's a country called China, but it'd be a bit silly because there's lots and lots and lots of evidence there's a country called China. But it could be a worldwide conspiracy where all are in on it apart from you, and it's not China, it's really Mongolia. And anyone who said to you they went to China, they were brainwashed to tell you China. You got the idea? So knowledge is I have so much evidence it would be irrational. A chair, I can't sit down. Yeah, thank you. You are the chair. You're the chairman. I'd like to sit on my high chair. No, I'm going to have to start doing it. Okay, so we good? So here we go.
Go back a minute.
Sorry.
Please.
What's the time, by the way? Because I think we'll go further.
10:30.
10:30. What time? Oh, an hour. Does anyone here? Do we need a 3-minute bathroom break or something? Would that make people happy? But I don't want to lose people. Let's have a 3 to 5 minute quick break, but let's be back 5 minutes.
There are 2 bathrooms in the back and 1 in the front.
And then we're going to go on to the evidence that there's no way human being has done.
There's another bathroom in the back hole. There's another restroom. All the way down.
Well,
The slab.
You can also speak quickly. Yeah, I know. I mean, you're right.
This makes me have
This, that's not true.
you know, my son, Gerald.
We'll talk to her next week. Oh, I'm so
Oh, right, yeah, that was wrong. Yeah. It's good. It's good. Get a sharp window to get a. Oh. Yeah. No. You know,
My dad too.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I feel the 2 years that
Okay, we're going to start soon. You don't really want to. Don't teach you to do the pain. Very good thing.
No problem.
It wasn't gonna win.
Yeah. Not off the top of my head, but I can find it.
Again, you go.
Okay. Oh, I know. I know, I'm very. Yeah, that's why. So I think you're almost two.
Okay, here we go. So Torah. If you go to a Reform synagogue in Alaska, and you go to a conservative synagogue in France, and you go to an Orthodox synagogue in Australia, they're all going to have the same document in the Holy Ark. That, by the way, is already miraculous. That's an amazing thing, that every Torah scroll on the face of the planet is the same. There are about 567 different versions of the Christian Bible. There's only one version of the Torah. Wherever you go, all over the world, being passed down, all over the world, same. That's in itself amazing. Our question for today is, who is the author of that document? Who wrote it? So these are my books. They're available. I'm the author of them. I read them. And I can prove it from my stories. I can tell you all about it. We want to know that scroll in the Aron HaKodesh, in the Holy Ark. Who wrote it? When? So there are two main theories out there. Number one is it was given by God to the Jewish people at Mount Sinai 3,338 years ago. God appeared to the whole Jewish people, man, woman, child, everyone, almost 3 million people, and said the 10 Commandments, and then dictated the rest of the Torah to Moses. Up the mountain, and in the next 38 years in the desert, he was dictating, and Moses was writing it down. That's one theory. The other theory, I'd love to give you a whole hour class on this. Biblical criticism is called the documentary hypothesis. So, thank you. Oh, the documentary hypothesis, I'm not going to get too much into it, and I put documentary hypotheses because there are a few of them they can't quite agree. But they say around 2,500 years ago, a redactor, a person came along, and there were four different texts. The priestly text, and there's a whole, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but basically he took four pre-existing texts and he wove them together and he redacted them and he edited them into the Torah scroll that we have today. And he said the biblical criticism really says because we see different writing styles, and if one person wrote it, you wouldn't expect to see different styles. You see different names of God. So if one person wrote it, you probably wouldn't have different names of God. And we see some repetitions, it's basically, he used literary criticism on the Torah. It doesn't even get off the ground, by the way, because you can't use human literary criticism on the Torah because we don't believe a human wrote it. So God doesn't have to stick to your literary rules, but whatever. The only important thing is that even they believed that it was finished, it was completed 2,500 years ago. No one thinks that the Torah scroll is newer than 2,500 years ago. So we got a document that was completed to at least 2,500 years ago. It's only an 800-year difference, by the way. It's not a very big difference. But we got this document. We got to work out who wrote it. What would you like to see in this 2,500-year-old document that may suggest that he did not write it? And what evidence? What evidence would there be that a human didn't write it? Predictions, extraordinary predictions, things that no human, because there are no extraordinary predictions in the Bhagavad Gita or the Dharmapada or the Quran or the Christian Bible. Don't call it the New Testament, by the way. There's only one Testament. It's like the new Karate Kid. The original, Mr. Miyagi, Daniel San, Jaden Smith, this is the original. It's called the Christian Bible. So there are no extraordinary predictions in those books. Why? Because human beings do not make extraordinary predictions because they're not going to come true and it's going to prove your book wrong. Another thing is something that no human being could possibly have known 2,500 years ago, or they just wouldn't write it. There's no reason to write it, and no benefit. We're just going to start looking through the document and work out who wrote this. So, the wondrous history of the Jews. This class is unbelievable in itself. Even if it wasn't evidence that God wrote the Torah, just this is the most empowering Jewish identity class you'll ever see. Louis XIV of France, Blaise Pascal. Blaise Pascal, apart from the Jews of his day, was the genius of the world. He was hanging around with the king. He was a philosopher and a physicist and inventor. He was Pascal's wager. Pascal was a man. Louis XIV of France asked Blaise Pascal if he had any evidence for the supernatural. What did Blaise Pascal say? Les Juifs. You know what that means? It means the Jews. That is a crazy answer to give. Your whole genius is on the line here. You're in the king's palace. The king asks you a question. Give me evidence of the supernatural. That's your answer. The Jews? But we're going to see why he said it. What's this? There are 7 extraordinary predictions in the Torah. These are facts, by the way. I'm just giving you facts. They're not 15, and I'm only showing you 7. There are 7 extraordinary predictions, and they have to be extraordinary. If they're not extraordinary, that's not significant. If the Torah says someone's going to break their leg, it's got to be extraordinary, because humans don't put extraordinary predictions in the Torah. 7 extraordinary predictions in the Torah, each and every one of them came true, and you'll see they're contradictory, they're supernatural, crazy predictions. So let's go. Here's the first one. It says in Genesis, and I'm just going to summarize these. We are going to be an eternal people. It's an eternal covenant. Our tribe, and you've got to remember, someone in the desert 2,500 years ago, let's say there's no God. I'm your leader, Moshe Dovber. Moshe Dovber was sitting around 2,500 years ago. We're a tribe in the desert. We're these Semitic people. We're these Semitic people. And I decide I'm going to create a religion. I want to create a religion and pretend it's from God. What am I going to put in there? Don't kill. Don't steal. A day off a week. Shake leaves and lemon. Weird, but I'll put it in. It's okay. 26. Black boxes, weird, but I'll put it in there. Circumcision, not sure about that one. Hi everyone, there's just one thing God wants us to do. If I didn't hear God saying that to me directly, I'm not doing that. So how about this? Kathy, you didn't know what you're in. How about this? I'm going to put this in my book. Our tribe, we're going to be around forever, forever. There's always going to be us in the world. That's an extraordinary prediction. Why? Because it's very, 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 very unlikely. How do we know it's unlikely? Because no one else is still around. The Canaanites, have you ever seen the Canaanites? A Moabite, Jebusites, the Hittites, Parasites, Gigabytes. Anyway, no one else survived. We're the only ones who survived. So it's an extraordinary prediction, especially because us as Jewish people, what holds us together as a Jewish people? What makes us Jewish as a people? Is it religion? No, that divides us. Are we a nation? No, most people don't speak Hebrew, they haven't been to Israel. Are we a race? No, many different shades of Jews. Are we a culture? Yemenite Jews, British Jews, what are we? It's amazing. What do you know actually what we are? What's the answer to that question? We're a family. B'nai Israel. We're literally a family. A dysfunctional family. We are a family. It's very important to understand it. Your great grandfather, grandmother, or my great grandmother, we're brothers, we're family. It's an amazing thing. Which is why I always say, my sister, she's not religious, but we love each other, and her daughter gets on with my kid. We love each other, and when she's not religious, why? Because when you're a family, you can still love and respect each other, even if you have different beliefs. Very important. But so we're a family. But I'm very critical. I did philosophy, and it's true that this is an extraordinary prediction, but I'd still put it in my book. Why? I want you to start thinking. I want you to be cynical. I'm going to tell you these things. I want you to be cynical. And afterwards, I want to get you to get out your chat GBT and say, how do you refute all this evidence? And send it, and I'll get out my chat GBT. It is an extraordinary prediction. Very unlikely to happen, but I'll still put it in my book one.
Because none of us will be around to show you that we were wrong.
Beautiful. Because if it comes true, I look great. If it doesn't come true, we're dead. So there's no consequence. Very good. Should be a rebel. This is what Mark Twain says. Mark Twain. Mark Twain loves it. He has made a marvelous fight in this world. In all the ages, he is done with his hands tied behind him. The Egyptians, Babylonian, Persian rose, filled the planet with sound and splendor, fading, the dreams that passed away. The Greek, the Romans followed, made a vast noise, they're gone. The Jews saw them all, beat them all, and is now what he always was, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening of his past, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his aggressive mind. All things are mortal for the Jews, all other thoughts pass, but he remains. What's the secret of his immortality? Blaise Pascal, these are the greatest intellectual minds of the non-Jewish world. We got Blaise Pascal, we got Mark Twain, and they're looking at the Jewish people, and they're saying this is not natural. But yet, here, this Russian philosopher, I'll just read the end. According to the materialistic positive criterion, this people ought to have long ago perished. Based on what we've been through, it's impossible for that prediction to have come true. There's no way we could have survived what we survived. Can you think of any other nations that have been around for 5,000 years, 10,000 years? Can you just think of any? Just think any, just off the top of your head. Yeah. Okay, China and India, they've been around for 10,000 years, but they've been around a long time. So we're not unique. So why, when the King of France said to Blaise Pascal, give me evidence of supernatural, why didn't he say China? China, Your Majesty, they're still around. Why didn't Mark Twain say, well, what is the secret of the Indian people? They've survived all these years. Why didn't Mark Twain say that? Why did Blaise Pascal say, but yeah, no one cares about China and India?
They were surrounded by the wall.
They weren't, yeah.
Okay, even more fundamental. That's a good one. They weren't being persecuted for the whole generation. Good. So what? You said all the answers. It's obvious. Natural history. They have their own land. If you have your own land, and what else do they have? Billions of people. If you have your own land and billions of people, and you aren't consistently persecuted, you're expected to survive. It's not miraculous. It would actually be supernatural if they didn't survive. So now you see where we're starting to go. If a country has its own land, billions of people, and is not persecuted, is going to survive. The Jewish people are the exact opposite. We've got exiled from our land twice. The Babylonians and the Romans. And we've been exiled from England and Spain and France and Britain. We're an exiled people. Exiled from our land 2,000 years ago. Few in number. 0.2% of the world population, and consistently killed. Spanish Inquisition, pogroms, crusades, Holocaust. There's no natural way to survive what we survived. Who says that? Blaise Pascal and everyone. The supernatural. Does that prove that God wrote the Torah, by the way? It just proves that our history is supernatural. It doesn't prove that God wrote the Torah. Do you know what to me would prove that God wrote the Torah? If the Torah accurately predicted that. No human being would predict those things. Who would do that? Why would you predict those things? Come with me, children. Second amazing prediction. I'm going to scatter you around the world. You're going to be exiled. That's it. Exile. So I'm Moshe Dogbear. Hi, everybody. Don't kill, don't steal. Shake and look, have an intro, do all these things. How about this? We're going to be around forever. Yay. How about this? We're going to go to our holy land, and then we're going to be exiled. And everyone would be like, why? And you'd be like, because we're going to be so bad that we're going to get exiled from our land. Why would a human being write that in that book? It's a strange thing to write for two reasons. Number one reason it's a strange thing to write is very unlikely to happen. Very unlikely to happen. Very unlikely to happen because exile was not common in those days. Exile not common. I put in my book, we're going to get conquered. Because that's happened. The Greeks came, they conquered, they Hellenized us. Greek culture, we're with our women, Greek. That's what you do. You don't exile, very rare to get exiled. So why would you write in your book that you're going to get exiled, which is very, very uncommon, very rare? Why don't you get conquered, not exiled? And then the second big problem with that is, if you do get exiled, you're not going to survive. Who else has ever survived exile? Even the 10 tribes of northern Israel, there's really 9, by the way. The 9 or 10 tribes of northern Israel, they were exiled by the Assyrians in 722. Where are they now? They've lost tribes. You can't survive exile. In fact, we're the only nation who ever survived exile. So why are you putting that in your book? There's no benefit to putting in your book. So the first thing is, it's a very negative prediction. Human beings don't make negative predictions about themselves. In fact, whoever wrote the Torah was either God or the most anti-Semitic person who has ever done it. Because the whole Torah is just about how bad the Jews are. That's what the Torah is. It's a book of Moshe. If I was Moshe writing the book, but I hit the rock and I couldn't get into Israel. Everyone. Jacob lies to his dad, like Moshe hit the rock, do the golden calf, and then the sin of the spies. And who creating a religion? This is my book. To create the foundation of my religion is about how bad we are. That's very weird. That's a very strange thing. No one says anything bad about Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha. You don't say bad things. And the whole book is bad. That's a very strange thing. Number 2, it's extraordinary. I wouldn't expect to be exiled. And number 3, it's inconsistent with being eternal. If you're exiled, you're probably not going to survive. Right? Next one. Few in number. Here we go. So first, we're going to be exiled. Secondly, we're going to be few in number. You could have been like the stars in the sky and the sand in the sea and all of that stuff. But because we're going to go, we're going to go into our land. This is such an inspirational. I'm going to be your leader. I'm going to inspire you. We're going to go into our land. We're going to mess up. We're going to get exiled. We're going to remain few in number. So we have a mitzvah in the Torah. The first mitzvah in the Torah is called Pru Rabu, which is have lots of kids. So the average Orthodox family has 6.7 children. I don't know what 0.7 of a child is. I actually do. I had a son born 3 months early. First day of the 27th week. And he was about 0.7 of a child. But he's fine. He's 7 years old now. It's great. He's fine. The average secular family has 1.2 children. So if you've got an ancient nation with a high birth rate, natural history says what? Large population. If we grew at the same rate as China, there'd be 400 million Jews. Now remember, China was only having 1 child for lots of its history, and we're having 6.7. So it's a supernatural thing. It's a crazy prediction to make. We're going to be few in number. Ancient nations are. 1945. How many Jews left in the world? There were 17 million Jews, 6 million Jews were killed. 1945, there were 11 million Jews in the world. Since 1945, the world population has increased by 3.5 times, which is an amazing statistic in itself, by the way. 3.5 times more people on the face of the planet. If the Jewish people had grown at the same rate as the rest of the world, how many Jews should there be today? 11 times 3.5 is about 39 million, but they're not there only 15 still. Why? Because the Torah says you're going to remain few. There's nothing you can do. You're not even going to double. Now I know why. I can explain. American Jews marry non-Jews. So there's a simulation. But someone writing their book 2,500 years ago who said you have to marry Jews isn't really thinking about that.
What percent did you say?
72% of American Jews marry non-Jews. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay. Moshe Dogbear. Okay, don't kill. Don't steal. Day off a week. Cheesecake. What are we doing? How about this? We're going to be consistently hated and persecuted. Yeah? Let's put it in. Imagine you're going to the religion fair. I don't know what religion I want to go. Buddhist, what do you say? Meditate and be compassionate. Peace of mind. Okay? Christians, what do you say? Believe he died for your sins, you're okay. Okay. Jews, we're going to be exiled, hated, persecuted, few in number, killed everywhere. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck to you guys. There we go. There's lots of persecution. Some people, when they give this presentation, now just go on and on and on about anti-Semitism. I'm not going to do it. We all know it's the most crazy, irrational thing ever. So what are we doing? What were Jews doing in Spain? We're basically helping that economy and like praying a bit. And then Spain is weird. What are we doing in Germany? Helping the economy in Britain. You heard of the blood libels? The Jews used the blood of Christian babies to make matzah. Firstly, we don't eat blood, and secondly, the matzah would be pink. It's really weird. Hamas say openly, we want to kill every Jew. That's genocidal. They say Hamas say we are genocidal. Israel says we don't want to fight, put down your weapons, be cool. We call genocide is so weird. Anti-Semitism is so. I feel honored that everyone wants to kill us. Me too. I don't know what's it. I just want to pray and help your comment. No, kill them. What are you doing? Here we go. Hatred of the Jews has many parallels. It's unique persistence and potency, final. We don't need to go into it. I don't think we're victims anymore. Right. Persecution, worse hatred, negative, external. Fine. So here we go. So now we have this first prophecy. The prophecy is we're going to be around forever, which is quite unlikely. But then you just gave me 3 strikes on your arm. We're going to be around, even though we're going to be exiled, few in number and persecuted, impossible. That's why, by the way, Blaise Pascal is saying the Jews are supernatural. Because it is supernatural. There's no natural way to survive that. No one else ever survived it. You can't survive it. And that's why Mark Twain said it. Everyone said it. Like, how are you here? Is it possible? So now we've got these 3 things. If these prophecies come true, there is no natural chance of survival. And we did survive, which means our survival is supernatural. That's why Blaise Pascal and Mark Twain are right. It's a supernatural survival. It was predicted. Someone predicted a supernatural survival. But let's say I'm writing my book, and for some weird reason, I put in my book these 3 things. There's no advantage to it. But I know that if they happen, then my religion is not going to last. So I must be thinking to myself, I actually don't want them to happen. I'm just putting in there to scare people. I don't. But let's say they don't happen, then what? Then it wasn't true. If they don't come true, your book's false. You just put something in your book, if it comes true, you die, and if it doesn't come true, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. That's crazy. Who's writing a book like that? Why are you doing that? Okay, now it gets cool. This is where it gets very, very cool. This is where I get excited. Not that I haven't been excited, but I'm very excited. Gypsies. I'm not insulting them. Why did I just say gypsies? Because gypsies are few in number, scattered and persecuted. Now, it was never predicted. It was never predicted, but they are also few. There are other Australian Aboriginals are scattered from their original place, and they're few in number, and they're not really liked in society. There are other peoples that are scattered and few in number and not liked. Question: what impact have they had on the world? World civilization? Nothing. Now, I have nothing against, I'm not saying bad things about other people. I'm just saying, if you're gypsies, if you are few in number and persecuted and scattered, it's impossible to have any impact on the world. You can't. We've seen that. Gypsies don't. Australian Aboriginal, you can't. Whoever wrote this book at least 2,500 years ago said you are going to, even though you will be exiled, few in number and persecuted, not only will you survive, but you're going to survive not as some kind of gypsy nation. You're going to be the greatest nation that ever was. That's a big thing to put in your book. I will make this. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and I will make your name great. You'll become a blessing. I will bless those that bless you, curse those who curse you. Through you, all the communities of the earth shall be blessed. Where there are Jews, their success. Spain became very successful because of the Jews. They kicked the Jews out. Spain became nothing. America has now become very successful because of the Jews. It's not looking so good for you guys. You're gonna go down. You're gonna go down, and you're coming home. You're coming home. That's why I came. This is really what one of my colleagues said to me, "You're going to America. Can you bring something back for me?" And I said, "Sure." What? And he said, 14 million Jews. So don't worry, they'll be coming. No, I think it's good to have a strong diaspora, not political. Isaiah says that we're going to be a light unto the nations. Now, what's this? Oh, Mr. Church, I wanted an English man. Some people like the Jews and some people do not, but no thoughtful man can doubt the fact that they are beyond all question the most formidable and most remarkable race which ever appeared in the world. Now, he didn't really like the Jews. It wasn't so interesting. But you cannot doubt that the Jewish people have given, well, we'll see what John Adams, second president of America. I will insist that Hebrews are contributed amongst civilized men in any other nation. They are the most glorious nation that ever inhabited this earth. They have given religion to three quarters of the globe and given influence that feathers mankind more and more happily in every nation. That's so weird. I don't know if you're freaking out. But you've got a gypsy nation hanging on for survival, not in their own country, being persecuted wherever they go. Anti-Semitism everywhere, few in numbers, scattered, and yet everyone sees this as not normal. Not normal. What's it? 2% of the world population. Morality comes from the Torah. Charity comes from the Torah. Education comes from the Torah. Don't kill your children comes from the Torah. Should think about that one. Morality comes from the Torah. Spirituality comes from the Torah. The Torah was a complete paradigm shift. Just historically speaking, the things that it says in the Torah that took away power from the king. The king was to serve the nation, and the king couldn't just kill everyone. Is a complete paradigm shift. Civilization. Does this have sound? I want to play you this video quickly. It's very cool. Oh.
Israel is the 100th smallest country on the globe and has about 1/1000th of the world's population. It's only 70 years old, smaller than New Jersey. Under constant threat of survival, it possesses few natural resources, and yet Israel is the only country in history to have revived an unspoken language. Since its founding, Israel has won the second highest number of Nobel Prizes per capita. Although the Jewish people are only 0.2% of the world population, Jews have received 22% of Nobel Prizes, constituting an inexplicable 11,250% above the statistical probability. Israel is the only country that entered the 21st century with a net gain in its number of trees. Even more remarkable, in an area that's mainly desert. Over 90% of Israeli homes use solar energy for hot water, the highest percentage of any country. Israeli companies are building the largest solar energy production facility in the world. Israel operates the world's largest desalination plant and is the #1 country providing usable water from seawater. Israel's scientific research institutions are third in the world and are ranked 2 in Spain. Israel is the world of medical patents and has revolutionized modern medicine. It's changing the diet in health. Regions to walk or camp, people to virtually see. Israel has more patents registered in the US than Russia, India, and China. 300 times Israel's population. Israel's innovations have improved the way we work, print, drive, breathe, eat, drink, talk, exercise, and even play. Israel is the only liberal democracy in the Middle East, and its third largest party is often the Arab Party. Israel has provided humanitarian aid and rescue services to over 140 countries, even to some that refuse to recognize it, like Syria and Lebanon. Israel is the third most educated country in the world, according to the OECD. Israel has the world's second highest number of new books per capita. Israel has the third highest rate of entrepreneurship among women in the world. And in 1969, Israel elected Golda Meir, the second female head of state in modern history. In proportion to its population, Israel has the largest number of high-tech startup companies in the world. In absolute numbers, Israel has more startups than any other country except the US and China. Israel is the only country whose indigenous population to its native land after 2,000 years of forced exile. There are 26 official Muslim states in the world and 18 official Christian states, but there is only one Israel, a small place making a big difference.
Yeah. Domestic hamster. So basically,
Yes.
how do we get out of that? So basically, you got a group of Holocaust survivors, and you put them in a desert with no natural resources, surrounded by enemy energy. That's supernatural. That in itself is supernatural. Not possible. 22% of Nobel Prize. Now, this is actually where it gets supernatural. Hashem, please. There we go. Has anyone studied history, natural history? Do we know what this is a picture of? It's a picture of the Fertile Crescent. It's called the Fertile Crescent because it was fertile and crescent shaped. Very good. Like the Dome of the Rock is called the Dome of the Rock. This is Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. This is where humankind began. Do you know why it began here? Because it was very fertile. This is where farming began. This is where we stopped being hunter-gatherers and we started being able to settle. This is where we settled because we could make our own food. This is the Fertile Crescent. Israel is part of the Fertile Crescent. We know for a fact, this is written by Josephus 2,000 years ago. For the whole area is excellent for crops or pasturage, rich in trees of every kind. So by its fertility, it invites even those least inclined to work the land. It's very, very easy to grow crops in Israel, all over Israel, part of the Fertile Crescent. In fact, every inch of it has been cultivated by the inhabitants. Not a parcel goes to waste. It's thickly covered with towns, and thanks to the natural abundance of the soil, the many villages are so densely populated, smaller than 15,000 homes. Basically, we know that 2,000 years ago, Israel was completely fertile and growing and lush and amazing. And yet, when we came back, it was a desert. How and when did Israel turn into a desert? When it used to be this. So the answer is when the Jews left. Basically, 70 CE, Jews were kicked out by the Romans slowly over time. And over time since then, we've had the Romans, the Byzantines, and the Ottomans. No civilization. Has anyone actually been to the ruins of the Ottoman city in Israel? No, because it doesn't exist. Nothing. There's nothing there. There's a aqueduct in Caesarea. There's a little bit of Romany stuff in Caesarea, very little. Not even the Romans could make the land of Israel flourish, and they want to. Why do the Romans and the Byzantines and the Ottomans want Israel to flourish? Firstly, the Holy Land, also for them, for Christian and Muslim. And secondly, it's the land bridge between Africa and Asia. It's a very, very, very important part of their empire. Someone once said to me, no, they just didn't really care about it. I was like, they did care about it. Not only that, it's very easy to make fertile. But it seems like the land only responds to the Jewish people. When we were there, it was fertile. When we got kicked out, it became a desert. And now we're back. We're exporting millions of dollars of Jaffa oranges and tulips to Holland and huge millions of dollars of agriculture coming out of Israel. But when we were there, it was fertile. When we came back, it was fertile. 2,000 years in between, suddenly became infertile. The land has consciousness. It only responds to the Jewish people. So we know for a fact that the Torah was written at least 2,500 years ago. At the time when Israel was fertile, whoever wrote the Torah says this. This is now, everything I've showed you so far is extraordinary. This is supernatural. So devastated will I leave the land that your enemies who live there will be astonished. Your land will remain desolate and your cities in ruins. And it actually carries on. We can find a comment. Anyway, it just carries on. And it says that all of the years that you are outside of the land is going to remain desolate. Desolate. Wow. And my children got into good high school. I will make your land desolate, and your foes who dwell upon it will be desolate. And you I will scatter amongst the nations. I will unsheathe the sword against you. Your land will be desolate, your cities will be in ruins. While you are in the land of your foes, then the land will rest. All the years of its desolation, it will rest. A human being living at a time when the land is fertile says, for no reason that you're going to be exiled, but hey, guys, don't worry, because you know our amazing, lush, beautiful land. No one else is ever really going to be able to establish it out there. It's going to wait for you. That's a supernatural prediction. It's not extraordinary. That's supernatural. It's predicting climate change. What is it doing? Who's putting that in a book? Yeah. Now we're on to the final one. What I said about this. Thank you. Return again. It's also very important to notice that each and every one of these predictions is not faith. It said you're going to be scattered, and you're going to be few in number, and you're going to be persecuted, and you will be a great nation, and your land will remain desolate, and you will return. It's not some vague prediction, and we're saying, well, the gematria of that is this, and it's very, very clear. This is the only simple interpretation of it. So here I'm making up this book 2,500 years ago and said, hey, we're going to be around forever, then we're going to be exiled, few in number, and persecuted. But even though we're exiled, few in number, and persecuted, not only are we not going to actually die, which is natural, we are going to be the greatest people who ever walked the face of the planet. That's ludicrous. And I know you're a bit worried about our amazing lush fertile land, but don't worry about it. Because while you're not there, no one else is going to be able to do anything. It's just going to wait for us. And in the end, you're going to come back. Hashem will bring you back. I did that. In 1900s, 0.5% of Jews lived in Israel. 2025, 49.5% of Jews live in Israel. And when you all make Aliyah next year, have 6.7 children. It's unbelievable. We are the prophet. Do you understand? We are living this prophecy. I go to work every day opposite the Kotel, and I'm living this prophecy. It's not normal. And I see people at the Kotel, the same family, saying the same prayers at the same time of year, doing the same ritual that we were doing 2,000 years ago. And it was all predicted. It's very good. It's very good. Oh, what are you doing? Yeah. It's amazing to see what Israel has become over the last several decades. To have scratched out of rock this incredibly vibrant, incredibly successful, wealthy, and powerful country is testament to the divine origin of the Torah and God. Okay, here are facts, because I don't like, I just want facts. We have a text at least 2,500 years old that contains 7 predictions. Some are negative. Humans don't make negative predictions. All of them extraordinary. Humans don't make extraordinary predictions. They're mutually inconsistent. If I'm few in number, exiled and hated, there's no way I'm going to survive. I'm not going to be eternal. But if I do survive, somehow I'm going to be Egyptian. I'm not going to be a light unto the nations. They just don't work together. One of them is supernatural. It predicts a unique and supernatural future for the Jewish people. Each and every one came true. That's our evidence. That's evidence. I come to a court of law. I have 7 pieces of evidence. They all go together. So I'm reading that as a 29-year-old, basically very happy Buddhist. Like, that's it. That's actually incredibly compelling evidence that there's no way a human being could. And it's only one. There are 5 pieces of evidence. We'll get through them all. I mean. Are there any questions, refutations, insights, something? Yes.
Josephus, was that in
I'm not sure. I think it was in the Hebrew, isn't it? Yeah.
I've got a question.
Yes.
There's a talk about, the Christian Bible, they often talk about going to heaven. There's talk about heaven in the Torah.
The Torah doesn't speak about the world to come, doesn't speak about souls, doesn't speak about Mashiach, doesn't talk about the world to come at all. It's a guidebook to spiritual consciousness in this world. That's not what the goal of Torah comes from the word hora'ah, which means instruction manuals. It's the instruction manuals for your soul, well, it's in a body in this world, so it doesn't talk about that stuff.
So I had something. So if the Torah is written, say, 2,500 years ago, it's the four text redacted. Is there enough history behind the Jewish people, persecution, being exiled by the Egyptians, and remaining a small people and more extraordinary? Don't those things already exist that someone could say, well, we're going to continue being a small, exiled, extraordinary people?
Not 2000, we weren't exiled by the Egyptians. Exiled means that you're exiled from your land, the land of Israel. So when it was written, that was before the exile had happened.
Before we left Egypt?
No, after we left Egypt, 3,338 years ago,
right.
Then we went into the land. Well, we hadn't gone into the land when the Torah was written. So exile means you're exiled from your land, not from Egypt was never our land. Exile means we're going to be exiled from our holy land.
Right.
It only happened after the entry.
Yeah, but it's still get out of here, prosecuted. But I mean, these predictions couldn't they be made? We were hated people for succeeding.
Basically, the prediction is all written before we get into the land, and it says we're going to get into the land.
Right.
Once we're in the land, we're going to be exiled,
yeah.
And we're going to be hated, killed, and right. Then the land's going to not. Once we leave the land, this is all in the future, not right. What happened in the past. Once we leave the land,
yeah.
The land is going to remain desolate, which a human don't. Before we got into the land, our land wasn't desolate. Right. It's only after we left the land that the land was desolate, and only after we were in the land could we be said to have returned to the land. It's right. All after being in the land.
Gotcha.
Balance the bracha that Hashem gave to Abraham about go out, look at the stars,
that's it.
and
that's
so
exactly
will be your nation.
That's exactly what the quote says. Yeah. You could have been there.
It would be simply just the faith that one day we will be that large, or
no, we messed it up. You shall remain future. Whereas you could have become as new as the stars and sky. You're going to mess up, and I am not. Because you messed up. Very strange thing for a human. Should we take it?
No.
We've got some other cool stuff.
Cover it.
First, I can do some more evidence that there's no way human being around the Torah. I can do some more of that, which I'd love to do, and then we can go on to some like spiritual, what your soul is, and who you are. Yes, a question.
Do you anticipate the temple being rebuilt soon?
Yes, absolutely. It has to be built within the next 216 years, 214 years. Our tradition is that the universe is only around for 6,000 years, and we're in the year 5786. And I just believe that, firstly, it's not a major part of my life because I'm very focused on the present. So when anyone asks me about Mashiach and things like that, I say, I'm not interested. I'm not so interested because I'm just trying to be a really kind person now. And if I'm a really kind person now, then that will help bring Mashiach, and I'm sure it will be okay when Mashiach comes. But yes, in general, we believe that we only have 214 years left. And the Nabi predicts all the rebuilding of the temple and becoming Mashiach. And I've seen a really, really good track record with our predictions so far. No matter how extraordinary and supernatural the predictions have seen, well, I've seen it come true, so I'm pretty confident. Imagine being in Germany in 1930 and seeing Jerusalem today. You wouldn't know, you can see it. It's like ridiculous. We've got our land and yeah.
So 70% of Germany, but we are small, these small in numbers. Why hear about the 70% who's
Because our brothers and our sisters, you love them. I'll tell you, here's amazing. We'll put it together. I said to my Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Yitzhak Berkowitz, listen to this, Gadi, it was the best thing ever. My Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Yitzhak Berkowitz, sweet, beautiful man. And I said to him, surely as a religious Jew, we shouldn't want Mashiach to come. Because when Mashiach comes, there's going to be less free will, and therefore we'll get less credit. See, now that we can't see God, so we have the evidence for it. When Mashiach comes, it's going to be so obvious that it's true that, of course, we're going to be religious. So that the Rosh Hashiva said, you're right, a religious Jew shouldn't want Mashiach to come. And I said, but we're praying every day for Mashiach to come. But why are we doing that? He says, because it's not about us, it's for all the not so religious Jews, because we want them to experience God. So he said, forget about your own spirituality. It's not about you, it's about the Jewish people as a whole. For a family, we want every Jew to be in a team. We're a team. And we really say that every letter in the Torah every Jew represents a letter in the Torah. And if a Torah is missing one letter, it's not kosher. So we want every Jew with us. Our brothers and sisters. That's what they said. If you become religious and then you judge other people and you live, then you're not religious.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
So, with the coming of the Mashiach, free will definitely change.
It's going to be there'll be it will be very small at that point. Because it's so obvious, once Mashiach comes, there's no conversion. Once Mashiach comes, you can't convert because everyone's going to want to convert. Although Judaism is the only religion that says you don't need to be Jewish to go to heaven. You just need to be kind, really. As long as you're kind, you go to heaven. You don't need to be me.
Okay,
but yes.
Human nature will have to do a major change.
Well, we're trying to do that now in order to bring them. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to become God conscious and kind. And for the whole of humanity, this is actually a really major thing, is that Judaism's in it for the whole of humanity, not just Jews. The temple was for all the nations, and it will be again. Yikarei Kol Ha'amim. All the nations, Shlomo's temple, King Solomon's temple, all the nations came and brought their offerings there, and that's what we want. It's not just us, we're meant to be a light unto the nations. We're meant to be a Mamlechet Kohanim, a nation of priests. We're meant to bring everyone. That's why we say that real peace, if we destroy Hamas, that's not real peace. Peace doesn't mean a lack of war, because it's still Babylon. Real peace is when everyone's on the same page again. We're all in it. There's going to be a big tshuva. Yishmael does tshuva in the Torah. Yishmael did tshuva. We want everyone to put down their weapons, do tshuva, and we'll all go to Jerusalem together. And then you can all come to me for Shabbos. All of it, the whole of humanity. But we're in it for the whole of humanity. We're not like the Jews, and we're in it for yeah.
On that similar vein, do you think there needs to start being a shift as we kind of get closer to this, 216 years, to instead of like Kiruv amongst just Jewish people, like kind of expanding out like Noahide efforts, trying to.
I'm going to focus on this 2% first.
Sure.
But I think that's more important. I don't think that's immoral. If I only have enough medicine for one person and my mother's sick and someone else's mother is sick, it's not immoral to give the medicine to someone. So I put my family first.
Yeah. When Mashiach comes or whatever, will the Torah be accepted as the truth for humanity, or everybody will accept it and just acknowledge that is the truth?
That's the plan, and it's meant for everyone. 7 Noahide laws. We want all of humanity. That's the purpose. We're all together. The Torah is a guidebook for all of humanity. Yes.
Say that the Torah has one version. Why is it that by the Gemara pierces?
Well, it says just by the Gemara, there's different gates of the Torah, there's different processes in the Gemara. We don't believe God read the Gemara. We could do a whole nother seminar on how you know the oral tradition is true. How do you know, and how do you know it was passed down accurately? How do you know? How do you know that the oral tradition was also given on Mount Sinai and not made up by rabbis later?
I'd be interested in that class.
I'll just give you one example. The Torah says, when you want to eat meat, you have to kill it in the way I told you. But nowhere in the Torah does it say how I told you. There must have been something else. If I go into your email and I see a message, meet me in the place we discuss. You discuss something. There are lots of things in the Torah. You have to put Totef Necha. So Moshe is like, I'll put Totef Necha. Can you just tell me what they are? What are Totef? I'll do it because you told me to. But what are they? Pink flowers? No, it's black boxes. How do we know it's black boxes? How do you know what Totef are? There's lots of stuff that obviously have to be said. Moshe was saying, I'll write it down, but you've got to explain it. Now then, how do you know it was passed down actually? Broken telephone. I got an answer to that too. Rabbi Kellerman, who does lots of the proofs, he went to a university somewhere in Florida, and he got 200 kids. A lot of kids, and he split up into groups of 15 kids, and he did broken telephone. He said to them, we're going to give you a message, and you've got to pass it down. So he gave them a message, 15 groups of 15 kids, I don't know the exact numbers. How many of them got it right, do you think? None. So then he said, I'm going to do it again, I'm going to give you a new message, but I'm going to give $20 to every member of the team who gets it right. How many of the 15 teams got it right? One or two. And then he kept upping it, and then he said, what we're going to do is I'm going to give the message to group number, all the ones in all the groups, I'm going to give you the message. And then you're going to pass it on to group number 2. Before the second person in the group, before they pass it on, all the 2s are then going to come and get together and discuss the message. So you've got 14 of the number 2s who say the message was this, and 1 who says the message was this. So then he realizes he's wrong, so he corrects himself, and then the 2s give it on to the 3s. Now, before the 3s pass it on to the 4, he says all the 3s come together, you discuss it. How many groups got it right? All of them got it right. So once you value it, and once you are checking, internally checking, and also Rabbi Akiva wasn't some like frat boy. If he managed to do with like some frat boys, like you got the greatest, most enlightened individuals who ever walked the face of the planet, passing down a message that they believe to be from God himself and checking it each time in every generation to get it correct.
I've heard, as in everything else, there's always 2 opinions in Judaism on everything.
No, there aren't.
Well,
So the joke.
opinions. Mashiach will only come when things get so bad
Or so good.
or so good. Which one?
I'm hoping for so good.
You're hoping, but
I'm working towards so good.
okay.
Come with me. Let's do it. Just be kind. Just be kind. This should be called the Just Be Kind seminar. What is the time now?
1:30.
It's so much.
Until when?
Do you want to hear another piece of evidence? You know what? I'm not even going to use that. Well, no, I use. Okay. Okay, good.
Whoops.
Okay. Here are my books that for sale. They're life changing, especially for me because I can use the money to educate my children. But they're also good for you. This is not a very good presentation, but you'll deal with it. I don't know very well either. Okay, here we go. Here's another, it's a very short one. I'm choosing a short one. Look, I've got a website areyouright.org with all the evidence on the website. Areyouright.org. So instead, I'm just going to share this from it to be quick. So you got someone who's in the desert 2,500 years ago, and he's going, what should I put in my book? Don't kill, don't steal. Right. Now we know at that time, everyone was either a vegan or they ate anything. Those were two options 2,500 years ago. Basically, the Eastern religions were vegan, not allowed to kill. Hinduism and Buddhism and Jainism, and they're no animal. Everyone else on the face of the planet eats whatever they like, snakes, rats, pigs, cow, whatever. But why not? Human comes along 2,500 years ago, and he's making up a religion. He said all these things. And then he said, completely out of the blue, a new thing. There are going to be some animals that we can eat, and some animals we can't eat. Remember, there are no gods. I'm just making up my religion. Why am I doing that? What's the point of that? Now, one reason could be to separate myself from the other nations, but we've got loads of stuff for that. We've got all our traditions and our cultures, and you can't marry them. So, hello. So he says, there's some animals you can eat something. It's a very, very bad idea because it's terrible for your economy and it's terrible for your diet. Let's say you're in the desert and you're making up a religion. Would you say this? We're not allowed to drink camel's milk. That's a bad idea. Let's say you live on the Mediterranean. Now, everyone who lives around the Mediterranean, 90% of their diet is seafood and trade. You're not allowed to trade in seafood. And whoever's making up this religion comes along and says, you're not allowed to eat seafood. I'm going to limit your seafood. You just limited 80% of my diet now. And my trading. And by the way, how about this? Now that you can't eat so much, I'm also going to say that one whole year in every 7 years, you can't do any farming. No farming. Why would you say that? What's Shemitah? That's a very weird thing. Hello, agricultural nation. Hello. I'll just say this to you. I'll say to you, hello, you're not allowed to make any income. You're not allowed to work it all for a year. Why? Why? So basically, this guy's putting stuff in his book that's completely destroying his society. He's trying to create a society, a religion here, and he's putting stuff in that is very, very detrimental for that. No, not a good idea. Very, very good. Shemitah is crazy. You know what happens? I wish I could bring on the Shemitah stuff. Shemitah says, for a whole year, you can't do any farming in the whole land. Why would you do that? Let the land rest. Called fallow. Let the land do. But if you do that, what you do is you split the land up into 7 portions, and each year you leave 1 portion fallow. And from England, this is what we did. 1 portion fallow, and that regains its mineral. But no, whoever wrote the Torah said, no farming. No farming at all. And you know what the Torah says? You know what the people said? But what are we going to eat? That's what the Torah said. What are we going to eat? Why are you putting it out in the book? So that whoever wrote the Torah says this. He doesn't say, don't worry, we'll save food from the years before. He doesn't say that. So that might make a good guess. He doesn't say, we're going to import food. He doesn't say that either. Do you know what he says? He says, don't worry, guys. Because in the 6th year, you're going to get a triple crop. Now, if there's no God, I'm not putting that in my book. I tell you that. But you do put no farming, which is crazy. How are we going to eat? This is even more crazy. Triple crop in the 6 years. So we get into the land. Yeshua takes us into the land, and we're very excited. And the first year goes by, and we're farming, and it's good. Second year goes by. We're very excited. Everyone's excited for the 6th year. Coming up to the 6th year. The guy who wrote the Torah, what's he thinking as we're coming close to the 6th year? He's like, oh no, how are we going to do this? Why did you put that in your book? 6th year comes, what's going to happen if there's no God? No triple crop, kill the guy, burn the book. It's a ridiculous thing. Anyway, so that's amazing in itself. Kashrut's amazing. I mean, Shemitah. Now, let's think about kashrut. So now I'm also saying, by the way, not only you can't farm for it, you can't have seafood. That's half of you, that's 80% of your diet, and you can't trade in it, and you can't have no pigs, no camel. That's weird. And then I say, do you know why? To be a kosher animal, you need to have two signs. What are the two signs of a kosher animal? Kippah and tzitzit. Oh, I think I don't really know this PowerPoint very well, but I think it's here. God spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Speak to the Israelite people. These are the creatures that you may eat from amongst all the land animals." Why? Why are you choosing which animals I can eat, which I can either don't eat any animals, don't kill animals, any way you like. Something coming along, you can eat these ones. Any animal that has true hooves, it steps through the hooves that chew the cud. Basically, the two signs are hooves and chew the cud. Let's say there's no God, and I make up a religion. Well, what animals should we eat? I think fully split hooves and chew the cud. Why? It's just a very weird thing to say. You just made it up. Why did you make those things? Why did you say long tail and floppy ear? There's already great things. Someone's made up kashrut for no reason. There's no reason to have kashrut. And if someone says, "Well, why can't I eat that food? Because it's not spiritually good for you." Why? Because do what they say. So these are ruminants. So basically, this is what a ruminant is. It's all scientific. I'm not going to go into it. Hello, cow. Basically, chewing the cud, malegera. How do you define malegera? Malegera is first you have lateral chew up and down. Ruminants chew side to side. Second thing is they have four stomachs. So the food goes in and it goes to this stomach and this stomach, and then they regurgitate it into their mouths and they chew it again. Obviously, that would make it kosher. Now I understand why that's spiritually okay to me. It is weird. Anyway, so that's what a ruminant is. Pretty split hooves, chew the cud. I don't know what's coming next. Yeah. Right, here we go. So then the Torah says a crazy thing. The Torah says, all the Torah says is, to be a kosher animal, it has to have split hooves and chew the cud. So I know for a fact that any animal that doesn't have these two signs of kashrut is not kosher. That's it. I don't need to know anything else. I now know everything about every animal on the face of the planet. If it has split hooves and chew the cud, I can eat it. If it doesn't, I can't. Good? Whoever wrote the Torah then says this. The following, however, of the ones that chew the cud of split, you cannot eat these. The camel, the shafan, and the arnevet. We can have a long discussion what those are, but it's definitely not a hare and a rock badger. We can talk about it. And the swine, the pig. You can't eat, do you know why you can't eat these four animals? You can't eat these three because these three do not have fully split hooves, but they do chew the cud. They only have one side. And a pig, you can't eat because it has fully split hooves, but it doesn't chew the cud. So you can't eat it because these are the four animals on the face of the earth that have one sign on them and not the other. You can't eat it. They're not kosher. I have a question. Why do you need to put this in here at all? No, it's not kosher. You just said to be kosher, you need two signs. Now you give me a list of animals with one sign and saying you can't eat them, they're not kosher. Why? You didn't help me. You didn't add anything. You've done something extra crazy at this point. We're just going to focus on the swine, on the chazir. We basically said that suina, the swine family, is the only animal on the face of the planet that has fully split hooves but doesn't chew the cud. Let's look at a few of our sources. Oh, the gamal. Hello. It's cool. Shafan and arnevet's a big discussion. Not going to get into it now, but happy to with anyone who wants to. So we've got the camel and the pig. We know exactly what they are. So the Gemara says, the ruler of his world knows that nothing other than the camel chews the cud and is still non-kosher. Therefore, it singles out the verse. The ruler of his world knows nothing other than the pig has hooves and still non-kosher. Question. If I'm a human being writing a book 2,500 years ago, would I put in my book that the pig family is the only animals on the face of the planet which has fully split hooves but doesn't do the cud? Do I know every animal in the whole of South America and Alaska and Asia and Australia and New Zealand? What do you gain by putting this in your book? Nothing. I already knew it was not kosher. What do you lose by putting it in a book? You've now made your book very, very easily falsifiable. Very easily. All I'd have to do is find one other animal on the face of the planet in the next 2,000 years that has fully split hooves, that doesn't do the country. Just prove the book false. I put something in my book that's for no benefit, but any crazy risk for no benefit. I just made my book very easily falsifiable with no benefit. And no other animal has ever. Now what's it? I got more. Come on. Oh. Okay. There are no other animals in the world that have one sign. There's a lot here. There's a lot here. Here we go. Fish.
Scales.
These you may eat of all that live in the water. Anything in the water, whether in the seas and streams, that has fins and scales. Basically, to be a kosher a kosher water animal. Anything under the water, seas, rivers, ponds, lakes, anything on the whole face of the planet, it needs two signs to be kosher: fins and scales. If it has fins and scales, it's kosher. What sea creature doesn't have fins or scales? Lobsters, shrimps. What sea creatures has fins but no scales? Sharks, dolphins, whales. What sea creatures have fins and scales? Salmon, tuna. What sea creatures have scales but no fins?
Water snake.
No scales, that's skin. No, being serious. You gotta know what a scale is.
The scales are those.
The Chazal knew what snakes were. And if they say there's no scales, no skins, anyone? Think of scales, no skin? One thing, basically the main thing of what a scale is, it comes off. When you buy your fish, the scales come off. Snakes, scales don't come off. The whole skin comes off. This is what the Gemara says. Gemara was written 2,000, this is the Mishnah, written 2,000 years ago. Any fish that has scales has fins, and there are fish that have fins but do not have scales. Any fish that has scales has fins. The Gemara makes a claim that there is nothing under the water anywhere on the face of the planet that has scales but does not have fins. That's a bold claim. That's a very bold. How do you know that? What you have to do is now find one animal under the face of the water that has scales, no fins, and the Torah is not taught. No fins. Yeah. So people say, how did you go from being a Buddhist monk to an Orthodox rabbi? And like, what's the time? I got so much more. We got so much we need to do. Oh. What is the time?
11:42.
Does anyone need to go home? Do we just have questions about anything to do with anything? Okay, we're going to do something really quickly. If you want to leave at 12 o'clock, you can leave at 12 o'clock, but you won't know the whole purpose of life, so I wouldn't. Okay, what's this? We're going to go and get a soul. A soul is a type of fish. Okay, how do we use this, Debbie?
You would stand.
Do you have a stand that high? You just don't stand in it.
It's sticky. It's sticky.
But not sideways. It's sideways.
Go right in the top.
No, right, no, it's.
Okay, that's
No.
Do not write on the screen.
Don't write on the screen.
My screen.
Is there really a reason I'm trying to see?
My room's. Then I'll see.
Not working there.
Just put a second sheet up there.
Ah,
we go.
good. Here. And another one. Okay, we're really going to finish with this, but it's very important. No, that's fine. Now I need a chair. Not one of these folding chairs.
Yeah.
You want a step stool? Or a step stool? A chair's fine. Is it? Second, third? Okay.
And the mic?
Why don't you wear shoes?
I don't know. People call me Rabbi Doug Beshel. Now, none of you have ever said this, but there was a phrase in the English language that went, hello. This is going to explain everything. This is Kabbalah 101. It's very important. If you don't understand basic Jewish mysticism, you can't understand anything. Nothing makes sense. The Torah doesn't make any sense without, people say you've got to be 40 years old to learn Kabbalah. It's not true. There's something called practical Kabbalah, which is messing around with God's names and stuff. That you can't do. The basic Kabbalistic philosophy I teach my kids because nothing makes sense if you don't. So I let myself down. Has anyone ever felt this? I've never said this, I let myself down. Now, this is a whole separate class very quickly, and it's the key to self-esteem. Don't let yourself down. Very serious. The key to self-respect is live up to your values. What are your two top values? Improve yourself, improve the world. As long as you're doing the right thing, then you can feel good about yourself. The key to self-esteem is self-respect. My father, Alav Shalom, is actually written on his kever, on his gravestone, just do the right thing. Since I was born, just do the right thing, but I don't want to, just do the right thing. It's hard, just do the right thing. No one else is doing the right thing, just do the right thing. It's the best advice ever. So the key to self-respect is, how often do you say to yourself, I really shouldn't do this, and then you do it? Or I shouldn't eat this, and then you eat it. I shouldn't watch this, I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't smoke this, I shouldn't snort. So you say, I really shouldn't do this, and then you do it. You can't have self-respect if you keep doing things you know you shouldn't do. And the other way around. I really should. I should get up earlier, I should call my mum more often, and then you don't. Don't feel guilty when I say this. Remember what we said at the beginning. You're supposed to be seen as an opportunity, self-compassion, self-care. But all you have to do, if you want self-respect, if you shouldn't do it, don't do it. And if you should do it, do it. Thank you. No, if you shouldn't do it, try really hard to do it a little bit less. I let myself down. Question. Who let who down? And how many of you are there? And which one is you? I let myself down. Who let who down? How many of you are there? And which one is the real you? I'm going to tell you now. Out of the I and the myself, which one is more ideal? Which one's the good one? The perfect one? Myself. The myself. Because there's this I that is less than ideal that let the myself down. So in Jewish mysticism, in this sentence, myself refers to the neshama. The self is neshama, which is pure love, joy.
It's not dark enough. You can't see what you're writing with. Yes.
Pure love and joy. That's what I'm writing. Try again.
Thank you.
It's simple. Neshama. The neshama is pure. The neshama's nature is love and joy. The neshama's nature is pure love and joy. That's who you are. That's your essence. You are just a radiant being of divine light. And part of your homework is, from now on, every single morning, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a radiant being of divine light. And if that's really weird and uncomfortable, you need to say it twice. But don't say it out loud on the public transport. But if someone is really negative and critical to you, firstly, it means they're not happy, because happy people are not happy. So be nice. If someone is really horrible and negative and critical, just look at them and say, but I'm a radiant being, it's by hand. And they'll think you're really weird. And you'll leave you alone. Yourself. Who here believes in a soul? Believe in soul. Who believes that the soul existed before the body? Who believes that however many years ago when the body was created, the soul basically comes down and hangs around the body? Who believes in 20, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, the body's going to die and the soul's going to continue? We're cool, fine. It has to go, but souls don't die. Souls are consciousness. Souls are pure consciousness. God, Hashem, is infinite consciousness. Soul is a finite aspect of infinite consciousness. Helek Elokam Iman Ma'amash. That is like the sun and a sun ray. The sun, God is the sun, the soul is a sun ray. It's made up of the sun. It depends on the sun. It's not a perfect analogy because God's infinite and the sun's not infinite, and also the sun ray is outside the sun. Whereas you're not outside God, we're within God. Whatever. Oh, goodness, yeah. Okay. So neshama is just a sun ray. It's a radiant being of Hashem's, a finite aspect of Hashem's pure light. And then the neshama comes down into the body. The reason the neshama comes down into the body, there's a few reasons, but just very quickly. Because the soul is an aspect of God. God is a mashpia, which means God is a giver. Doesn't need anything, but the soul can't give. So the soul has to come down into this world in order to manifest itself as a giver, and that's why it's been given this opposite side, which is being a taker. So this is what happens. The soul comes down into the body. Here's the body. This is the body. The body has got nothing to do with you. The body is the vehicle for the soul to be in this world. The body is literally just an earth suit. If you go to the moon, you need a spacesuit to survive on the moon. For the soul to survive in this world, it needs an earth suit. That's what the body is. The body is an animal. The body is literally, there's no difference between your body and an animal's body apart from we can't swim very fast, run very fast, climb very fast, fly very high. In fact, if we didn't have a soul and intelligence, we would be dead very quickly. We're basically the bottom of the animal chain. Your body is just literally an animal. And it's a mammal. You're a mammal. We go to the bathroom and we sleep and we fight and we're the alpha male and we procreate and we breastfeed and we live in an animal. That's the body. The body is an animal. So the body's got nothing to do with you. Who here looked at themselves in the mirror today, by the way? Wrong. You looked at your body in the mirror. Yourself is in the neshama. You know what? You've never ever looked at yourself in the mirror. It's an amazing thing. You look at your body, you just identify with your body, which is a big mistake. Many people get a sense of self based on their body, but that's not who you are. You're not a body. You've never looked at yourself in the mirror. It's amazing. You're never going to. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you look at your body in the mirror, you should just look at your body and say, this is my suit. If you identify as a body, then getting old is very difficult because it deteriorates a bit. But if you identify as a soul, getting old doesn't get bad because you're just building your soul. You're more kindness, more mitzvahs, more sweetness, more meditation, more prayer. More. I can't wait. I always tell my wife, I can't wait to be like 80, long white beard. And, yeah, why is that nice? There we go. We got the body. Soul comes into body. Now, body is just a corpse. There's nothing. So body needs to be kept alive. Has anyone here got a ninja? An air fryer. I got that, and I got the carrot juicer machine. I got loads of ninjas. I like the ninja. But you have to plug the ninja into the wall. You need electricity to give power to the ninja. So there's something called the nefesh. I'm teaching about 3 levels of the soul. The nefesh is just the enlivening force that keeps this thing moving. Animals have a nefesh. Otherwise they couldn't move. Have you ever heard the idea that when you go to sleep, your soul leaves your body? Yep. So if your soul leaves your body, why don't you die? Because your nefesh doesn't leave your body. If your nefesh, what is death? Death is when nefesh leaves, when you get unplugged, basically. That's what death is. Your soul can leave your body. In fact, sorry to tell you, but every time you get angry, your neshama leaves. Every time you look at something you're not meant to look at, your neshama leaves. don't feel guilty and shame and bad. Don't do all that nonsense. Try better. Me too. But your neshama isn't actually always around. If you're not behaving how you need to behave, your neshama just doesn't want to see it. Gets out of it. Fine. So your nefesh is really called your animal soul. And the animal soul is selfish. And it's driven by two things, feeling good and looking good. Yeah, I just want to feel good, temporary pleasure in this moment. I want to look good. It's all ego, feeling good and looking good. Feeling good and I just want to feel good and look good. Selfish, me. And the neshama just wants to be good and do good. That's how we started the whole day. Be good and do good. The animal soul has a voice. The voice of the animal soul is the Yetzer Hara. And the voice of the neshama is the Yetzer Tov. And the truth is that all of your thoughts come either from your neshama or your nefesh, your body or your soul, or your thought. So you know those cartoons with the angel and the devil on their shoulders, and they're like, get out of bed. That's literally what's going on. This is what Kabbalah teaches us. That there's a you, there's a consciousness, the I, there's a consciousness, and coming into the consciousness is that voice, the animalistic voice, selfish voice, and we got these two. So you got this constant battle, feel good, look good, be good, do good, feel good, look good. Does Judaism say you can't feel good and look good? Of course you can feel good and look good, but you should feel good and look good by being good and doing good. So you shouldn't be chasing feeling good and looking good. Forget about feeling good and looking good. Just think about being good. What's more important, being good or looking good? Being good. What do you spend more time on? No, amazing. You need to live a VDL, values-driven life. You've got to spend at least as much time on being good and breaking a character as you do on looking good. Seems clear to me. Fine. Did you ever notice that Yetzer Hara is called Ha? Yetzer Hara. But the Yetzer Tov isn't called Yetzer HaTov. Shouldn't it be Yetzer Hara and Yetzer HaTov? Or Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Ra? Why does the Ra have a Ha? The Raha. Why does the Ra have a Ha? Because our sages say just that the Yetzer Tov is good. That's a definitive, so that's an adjective. And Yetzer bad. It's a drive towards bad, but it's actually good. It's your sparring partner. The Yetzer Hara is what's actually making you strong. So it's not bad. It's not Yetzer Hara. It's Yetzer Hara. It's Yetzer towards bad. Right. Who's the I? This is very, very important. The I is very, very important. In this whole picture, the I is very important. The self, this is who you are. You are a pure neshama. A radiant being of divine light, that's who you are. And then the neshama comes down into the body.
This context.
We're going to see.
Pardon? Guf, body.
The guf nefesh is just an animal. Just the thing that we're in at the moment. Nothing, not part of you. The Yetzer Hara is not even part of you. Some people say, when I'm a bit good and a bit bad, I've got a Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov. The Yetzer Hara is not part of you. It's a disease. No one says, well, COVID is just part of who I am. COVID is in you and it's affecting you negatively, but no one identifies with it. Don't identify with your Yetzer Hara, it's not you. It's a snake in your head from the Garden of Eden. The snake got into your head, became part of your psyche, and you identify with it, but it's not you. So when your Yetzer Hara starts saying stuff, you say, don't repress it. What was Eve's sin, first mistake in the Garden of Eden? Don't talk to snakes, you idiot. Why are you talking to snakes? The snake comes up to Chava and says, hey, Chava, and she should be like, poke the hand. Anyway, that's a whole different class, very important. I need to teach you about your mind. I've got an 8-week Jewish mindfulness course starting on November the 30th. 8 weeks. It's very sweet. I'll tell you that it's basically just 8 weeks of breathing very deeply and being nice to yourself. It's amazing. RabbiDovbear.org. Go to RabbiDovbear.org. RabbiDovbear.org. Right. Anyway. Separate. This is good. So what's the I? Now this is the most important thing. Who is the I? Who let who down? The I, so in Kabbalistic terms, it's called the Ruach. Three levels of your soul: nefesh, ruach, neshama. There are two higher levels of your soul called chaya and yechida. We're not going to talk about them today; they're not relevant. These are your individual levels of your soul: nefesh, ruach, neshama. Who you are is neshama. So who's the I? Who's the ruach? The ego. What is this? So our sages teach us that the soul has three garments, levushim. The three levushim, the garments of the soul, and they are thought, speech, and action. Thought, speech, and action. Everything you ever do is thought, speech, and action. That's all you do. There's something called emotion, but you don't do emotion. You have emotions based on your thoughts. Thoughts create emotion. Thought, speech, and action, that is how you show up in the world. And character traits and personality. This is all of it. I was actually very excited when I got to America. I saw these people walking around in the airport with jackets and they said TSA on the jacket. And that's so big and active. Well, you got amazing. This is how you travel through life.
That's fun.
Why are they called the garments of your soul? Because garments either cover you up, but then they reveal something about you as well. So your thought, speech, and action can reveal your soul. If you're thinking beautiful, uplifting, spiritual, amazing thoughts, and you're saying loving, kind, uplifting, beautiful things, and you're doing good things, then your garments, your ruach, your ego, your I is bringing your neshama into the world. But if they're not, if you're having negative doubt, judgment, hatred, or horrible thoughts, and you're saying horrible lashon hara and putting people down, and you're doing bad things, then your thought, speech, and action is covering up your soul. The neshama basically is like, I'm out of here, and you get dragged down into, you're being an animal. Basically, you're being an animal. So you can either be a soul or be an animal. This, the ruach, is who you are being. It's not who you are. This is who you are being. So I'm being. Oh, I'm going to tell you a quick story. If anyone needs to go home now, I wouldn't advise it. So, when I was in India, I heard an amazing story. One of the gurus told the story. An Israeli backpacker guru. So he said this. Once upon a time, there was a pregnant lioness. Once upon a time, there was a pregnant lioness. And she fell down the cliff. And as she fell down the cliff, she died and she gave birth to her baby lion cub. And the lion cub gets up and he sees these big animals and he goes over and he snuggles and he drinks a bit from the animal and he joins his family. What he didn't realize was he was born into a flock of sheep. But he thought he was a sheep. And he's hanging around with the sheep and he's learning to speak sheep. So he's meha, and he's eating grass. And he develops sheep values. And he learns Masechta sheep. And he knows the gematria of sheep. And he worships the sheep god. And he has sheep festival. He has a sheep girlfriend. So he's thinking and speaking and acting like a sheep. So he is being a sheep. Is he a sheep? No. He's a lion. He's definitely a lion. He's being a sheep. He's definitely a lion. So one day, the Lion King comes along, his father. And the Lion King's very hungry. And he sees the flock of sheep. And he's going, I'm going to get a sheep. And he's chasing the flock of sheep. And all the sheep are running away. And he's about to get it. And he sees a lion cub amongst the sheep. And he says, what's going on? So he runs over and he picks up the lion cub. And he goes, what are you doing? And the little lion, lion cub, like, meh. And the Lion King is like, what are you doing? And he goes, leave me alone, I'm running away from the lion. And the lion says, but you are a lion. Shimshon, my son, who was born early, he said to me, Abba, you are Mufasa, I am Simba. I love him, but yes, Simba. So anyway, you are a lion. And the little sheep was like, no, you're a lion, I'm a sheep, I think like a sheep, I speak like a sheep, I am a sheep, I know I'm a sheep, I'm a sheep. So the lion takes the sheep to the water and said, look in the water. So he looks in the water, he's in face, and he's like, oh no, you're tricking me. And then the lion lets out a roar. like Mufasa in the elephant graveyard with the hyenas. And there's something within him wakes up, he's like, that's called tshuva, I think. Tshuva is that moment when you realize how. But then what he has to do is he has to retrain himself. He now has to learn to have lion values and eat lion food and speak like a lion and act like a lion and know the gematria of lion and the lion. You've got to be a lion. So your neshama got born into this body. This is sheep. This is lion. You got born, and I come along and say, you are a radiant being of divine light, and you're like, yeah, no, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. You are a radiant being of divine light. You're just so misidentified with your body, ego, that you've forgotten who you are. For example, you say things like, I am tired. Souls don't get tired. What you should say is, my body is tired. Don't actually do this. People will think you are crazy. I am jealous. Souls don't get jealous. Your ego is jealous. So you're just, I'm saying you are a soul. You're a perfect aspect of God consciousness. And you're looking at me and you're like, meh. Wake up. Wake up. And then you look in the water. What's the water? I worked this out after I was in India and I came to Israel, and I used to tell this story. I worked out what's the water. The water's Torah. So he looks in the water and it's like, you look in the Torah, and then you're like, no, that's not me. When you first come to the Torah, you're like, hold on, I don't believe some of these values, it seems weird, and religious people aren't very nice, and blah, blah, blah. But then the roar is the shofar. Something in you like, I'm a better. So the purpose of life, so now you admit you're in a neshama. Now you've got to start thinking, speaking, acting like a neshama. So the whole purpose of your life, kind of, when I say you've got to improve yourself, what I mean is you've got to make your thoughts, speech, and action reflect your soul. That's it. And the Torah is a guidebook to how to do that. But I want to think like a pure, loving neshama, and I want to speak and act like a pure, loving neshama. So the purpose of life is to be who you are. Just be who you are. Now, what's actually more important? What defines you? Your ruach or your neshama? What defines you? Who you are being or who you are? Some people say who you are, and some people say who you're being. Good. A group of cheers. So imagine someone comes up to me and he says, Rabbi Cohen, I'd like to marry your daughter. And I say to him, but I know you just smoke weed all day and play like Fortnite and eat pizza and you steal and you don't keep Shabbos and you've got terrible character traits and you're really horrible to your parents. And he says to me, yes, but Rabbi Cohen, I listen to your class and don't forget who I am. I'm a radiant being that I know that. I don't care who you are, I care who you're being. So in this world, who you are, you're a soul. But you're judged on who you're being, who you are. How do we know this? Because every morning we say, Elokai neshama shenatata bi, the soul that you gave me. So who's the me? Definitely not the body. The body is nothing. So the me, even before that, we say, Made ani levanecha melechai b'peyon shechazata bi nishmati. So in this world, you're not a neshama. You are. That's your essence. But in this world, you're who you're choosing to be. So if you're choosing to be godly, then that's who you are. I actually worked it out. Elokai neshama shenatata bi, that's who you are being. And be is who you're being. Cool. So that's what we want to do. We want to gently start to refine our thoughts, speech, and action. And I guarantee that if you refine your thoughts, speech, and action, you will have the 5 things you want in life, which are happiness, self-worth, good relationships, meaning.
That's good. You're not getting an answer to this question. So that's the video that you did, which was beautiful. It's about what Judaism is and define it as a family.
Yeah, I didn't. That was all him. I couldn't stand that video. I nearly didn't do it. He basically said, before he came, he said, these are the 2 things I want to say about Judaism. I said, that's not Judaism. I want to say completely different things. And I told Aish, I said, I'm not going to do it. And they said, just do it, because there's going to be millions of unaffiliated Jews who've never seen a rabbi before. Just go and be nice. And so he turned up, he didn't learn Judaism for a month. He came for 2 hours late.
Yeah.
But yes, Judaism is a family. It was not, it turned out again.
But it's not.
I said to him, how about Bahadur in Morocco? Love your fellows yourself. And he said, that's Christianity. I was like, Okay, RabbiDogFair.org. RabbiDogFair.org. Spotify classes, YouTube, mindfulness courses, company Shabbos.
Thank you.
Get my
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Dogfair, for coming. There are books outside if you want to use, if you'd like to purchase them, and you can try to get Rabbi Dogfair to sign them. I just want to go through quickly. I was able to pull out the calendar. We have it's called Happenings. And the following dates are happening as follows. This coming Tuesday is Chef Ruchama, which is sold out. If you don't have a ticket, I don't know, speak to our office. Coming Sunday, we have the Nova exhibit, and then we have a movie called Beneath the Helmet that is coming up on Sunday, Monday, December 8th. Monday, December 8th. Check out our website, and you should be getting emails from us twice a week on Mondays and Fridays. Thank you, everybody.
And the movie is gonna be here. Thank you so much.
The movies at what movie? The movie is at the theater at the Wayfair Theater. Wayfair Theater. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Decided to. So golden retrievers. They bred them together. We got the right color. And then some of them. But for some reason, they don't downgrade the human color. They actually downgrade the groups. I believe there's something again. They may still be doing it. The thing is, yes, I was supposed to.
Is that amazing? Is that amazing?
Is that amazing? The drug in the United States. First of all, it's in. Yeah, 50%. It's just double they're beautiful, right? They're beautiful. Yeah. We was classy in 7 years. About 73 individual. One This is one. Then I'm in next time. Okay, here's a government. It's a pure golden. But years ago, your golden. And mix them together.
So if anyone wants to help fold the chairs and fold the table. Here's the piled up.
It's a big red dot.
Green chairs get piled up. White chairs piled up.
But to see.
Tables and boards to the back.
And as soon as they said red, she changed it. So it's circulating. It's exactly so. There was one.
Thank you.
Are you folding the chairs?
So. The one before, the one they be shown. So that's what this one's a sheet.
The waiter and
Two of them, the other one was more, we were more than two. We would know what I wanted before. Yeah. This one. But I can't tell you. No, with you or not, if I can guess. So. So.
It's incredible.
Yeah, very low. He knows nighttime. He picks up all his toys. And for me, he puts back in his toy box, gets a cookie. So during the day, I'll take out and spread them around so he can pick up. And every night you get more cookies. And God forbid you don't give me school. I mean, just. No, goes out here just so he will be water. So we need his urine, one, he will breathe out of it. Oh, absolutely.
I know, I'm kind of like.
Well, actually, maybe.
I'm gonna try and send me videos, send me some books or something. And then Gotti will put on I can get the book.
Perfect. We could add it to the question.
We have more. Well, maybe you'll send me a piece of book. So what's your sense?
Yeah, there you go.
It's especially hot.
What?
Well, I've been trying to get him for a couple of weeks. And we finally got to stay on the and I don't think that was also
Yeah. It's cool. Well, got it?
Are you waiting?
Take my email just now. All of us.
the only person but I was
That was an extra nice little bonus. You're here. We can jump back.
yeah, Rabbi Simmons, yeah, he's making
I'll give you 10 hours. I've got all, I've got like 200 classes. I'll tell you, do you want to really have
Yeah.
Now we can see the bread of shit. You receive something that you didn't work for. And there's really
how long do you have?
if you get
It's coming. Nice to meet you.
Lev. Thank you. Lev.
Well, which you can choose free will, or choose Once you fix that foundation, when the body dies, you go back to another and you go back. You don't have the thing for the real place.
What did you do?
Yeah, say it on the
She loves us, even if we don't do it. You'll see one day, remember me? See you later.
Come part of the, put yourself into square, put yourself into square, put yourself into square without like, this is who you are. It's just straight into being.
All right, nice meeting you. You all. Good fun.
Nice drawing.
You guys, okay, good to see you, Larry. Move on.
Wow, where?
I'm actually in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This thing.
I'm based here in Chicago, now back here.
Yeah.
I was last night by your speech and I came back today. I bought the 3 books, but I didn't even bring them back for like the inscription. So, right? I got a passport finally. I have to get there once. But you know, one foot. I got the passport. Thank you very much for the It's really, there's like a chipotle there.
Oh, really?
I think it's been transcribed. Thank you.
Thanks. Wait, I don't know, you have more books in my house?
Yeah,
Okay, so.
Okay, thank you.
yeah. I only have more of the United Jewish Master. I think these are finished.
Well, maybe you'll send me a case of books and then we can, and then Eve can send, or Gotti can send out a text. And we can have more words.
Actions that shake hands.
Oh, really?
Exactly Dutch.
I know that, that's what I'm saying, so this thing.
And Jewish circles.
This is for slightly people see this.
Yeah, I grew up here.
Well, if you think that then up, then I can add. Then I can
Please.
Yes. Up and down.
Yeah.
The dog.
Yeah.
Sheep.
The flippers know we're talking about them?
What's going or?
He did it for
That's.
So I ever see him without the vest on, then I can.
At home now.
Daughter. Well, my son had it, so now. My next daughter is. 8 months.
My daughter Eliza met you in Israel.
Oh.
She said she said he would know that's my daughter. Yeah, but I want to take a picture with she's in Denver. She's working with Teach for America. You will be? Really? I'm gonna tell her. I'm sure she will be there. Can I take a pic? This is her brother Lev.
Hi, Lev. What do you like them?
Rabbi, I'll meet you outside.
Yeah, you don't even, I'll watch that. I got it.
I'm studying Torah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, he loves that too. Yeah.
He needs to go out though.
You said the enlightened Jew.
Yeah. No football. Oh, no, soccer. You play soccer. No football. No American. Yeah.
I play football.
I find American football the strangest sport because it's basically like 5 seconds and then 10 minutes.
That's what he said. That's what he says. I'm like, come on, let's go watch the game. He's like, no, it's like
8 seconds of actual play, then you get
a 20-minute game that takes 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's true. I think American had 5 very close.
you would think, but if you look at baseball is like the slowest sport ever. You know, they instituted the pitch clock. Here, let's take a picture. Great, thank you. Are you going to be in Boulder at all? So his other sister's in Boulder.
No, just in Denver.
Okay, so put it on your website.
It's not on my website.
Oh.
How are we going to find it? It's Rabbi Wolf.
Okay.
I don't know where it is. Oh, hold on, I can look through mine.
Rabbi Wolf?
Yeah.
You looking for Rabbi Wolf?
No, I've got it. All right. I don't know what I'm saying.
The wine book takes 48 minutes to transcribe everything.
There's a book called 48 minutes. In every Jewish bookstore. I'm about 48 minutes.
Wonderful that you could sing.
Oh, I want to take the sound of the pitch.
I'm gonna write right in. Don't forget.
They must have done.
Oh, you
must
put
have
it
must have
on.
done.
Well, that can be in English. And that's evidence that's in English.
Okay.
I got it. Dash.com. Yeah, go to dash.com website and say, have
Another way to
it.
go in there.
You know, I just realized my daughter's going to be here.
Thanksgiving. Thank you very much.
Ready to roll? All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Hey, thank you guys.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for your help again.
Any other?
When we rebuild the temple, they'll be okay by then. They'll support that.
Hey, what are you standing around for? You got stuff to do.
Someone.
With your phone? You don't have your phone?